All right. We live. Peace and shalom, families. Divine Prospect of Kingdom Harbinger Ministries. Thank y'all for tuning in to this live stream session. I'm going to go ahead and share this link before we get started. Anybody tuning in, feel free to share the link as well. All right, let me just share this. Okay. All right. Okay. All right, family. So, if y'all can hear and see me well, hit 1. If the audio video is in sync, if everything looks good, hit 1. Let me know before I get started. All right, hit 1 so I know that everything is working up to par. All right. Let me just check it out, make sure everything's good. Okay, hit 1, hit 1. All right, everything's looking good. All right, cool. Sometimes my Wi-Fi be acting up, so I gotta jump on the Xfinity Wi-Fi. So I'm gonna rock with this for the rest of the session, and just let me know, guys, if you see any kind of anomalies in regards to audio, video not being in sync, or if it's fading out or whatever. Let me know if there's an issue. All right. So thank you guys for joining in. I'm gonna give y'all a little bit of time for y'all to jump in. If y'all want to shout out, hit 2. If you want to shout out, you know how we do. I want everybody to know who supports this channel, who's up in here with me at 2:42 a.m. in the morning. You know how we do. I'm gonna try to do some earlier sessions because I know people have been asking for that. I know I've been trying to do it for a long time. I'm gonna really work on that because a lot more people want to get in on action. That's cool. All right. So what I'm gonna do, family, in the chat, I'm gonna put out the call-in number. So those of you who want to call in, I'm gonna give y'all the number. So let me get that for y'all. Hold on 1 second. Give y'all the call-in number. All right, call-in number. Here we go. Okay. All right. So there's the call-in number. So if y'all want to call in, that's the phone number right there. So y'all can call in. I'm taking calls now. All right. So since the template said the audio is breaking up, is everything good, money? Hit 1 if everything is cool. If the audio video is cool, hit 1. All right. I'm about to check in on my phone and make sure everything is good. I want to give y'all nothing but quality. All right. So let me see. Let me check it out real quick, make sure everything's good, and then we can get started. All right, so hit 1 if it's good. Somebody saying you choppy, whatever. Man, yo, it's crazy. Hold on, let me see. I mean, it's looking good on my phone. It's looking good on my phone. So, all right, cool. I appreciate that, family. All right, let me give some shout outs. Let's see who's in the building. Shout out to Mariel Ben Yahuwah. Shout out to Daniela Aliyah L. Shout out to the Black App 1. Shout out to the Hera Kayana. Shout out to Kifa Abiel Ben Israel. Shout out to Sadaria Halliburton. Shout out to Pieces of Me. Shout out to Talk Truth with Shawnee. That's the moderator on the board. Shout out to Darak. Shout out to Serious B. Shout out to Just Looking. Shout out to Daniel Knox. Shout out to Nate Dessel. Shout out to Daughter of the Most High. Shout out to Tanika West. Let's see. Shout out to Unique the God. Shout out to Goddess 66. If you want to shout out, hit 2. Right? I gave y'all the call-in number. So if you want to call in at any time, y'all can call in. All right. So we're gonna get started shortly, family. Please share this link everywhere. Anybody that's awake needs to be here. You need to be in some constructive discussions, things that's going to edify you, equip you, encourage you, empower you. So that's what we do here at Kingdom Harbinger Ministries, and Divine Prospect is just the chief spokesman for the ministry. Okay, I'm here to protect those who don't have a voice. I'm here to protect those who are oppressed. I'm here to protect those who support, but they don't want to be on the front lines. That's okay. I'm willing to take the L for y'all if I have to, or take the W for y'all. You can win vicariously to me. It doesn't matter. And I mean, at the end of the day, I'm here to represent y'all. You know what I'm saying? My life is not my own anymore. So I've learned to walk into that, because that was a very uncomfortable transition in the beginning. But I've learned that, you know, in order to fully please Yah, you have to relinquish who you are. So I'll start off with saying this, and then we're going to get into a couple things. Remember, y'all got the calling number. The calling number, 917-774-9646. 917-774-9646. That's a calling number, all right? All right, so I shared this a lot of times before, but, you know, there's a scripture that says you have to love the Most High Yah with all your heart, all your mind, and all your soul. And that's the first commandment, right? So Yah taught his disciples, and Yahushua was there, what we call Rabbi Moed, whatever you want to label him. But he was trying to explain that when we look at the entire Torah, there are things that you have to do to show your obedience to Yah. That is love. And then there's things you have to do to show your obligation to your community. That is love. But when we read, matter of fact, let me get the scripture real quick. Hold on. Let me get the scripture for y'all. Let me pull it up. I'm going to read this for y'all. Right. All right. So this is, let's do Matthew 22:37. Yahushua was asked, teacher, which commandment is the greatest in the law? Remember, law is Torah. This is important. Yahushua declared, love Adonai, your Elohim, with all of your leb, your heart, and all of your nefesh, your soul, and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. And when we look at the 10 commandments, when it opens up, the first 4 commandments is you showing your love towards Yah. And then it says, and the second is like this, love your neighbor as yourself. The last 6 of the 10 commandments is geared towards other people. And then we go into the statutes, laws, bylaws, and other commandments that we see codified in the mitzvah or the laws of the Mosaic laws, what we call it. We'll see that it's categorized with things you have to do to show love towards Yah and what you have to do to show love towards your fellow man. So I was asked a question one time, and I was asked, if you're loving Yah with all your heart, mind, and soul, how do you have anything left over to love anybody else? It's deep. That's a great question. So I said to them, when you show love to Yah, your obedience is sacrifice. You are surrendering who you are to Yah to empty yourself so he can fill you and use what he fills you to overpour in the lives of others. So you're not loving people. You're opening yourself for the Ruach to love others through you. And you can't keep the law without the Ruach. That's the purpose of this renewed covenant. The renewed covenant is that now he's going to infuse the Ruach into the hearts of Israel so we can keep the law. You can't have too much law and no spirit. You can't have too much spirit and no law. You need a balance between the two. And this is what confounds a lot of people, because they're always teetering on the opposite ends of the spectrum and they cannot find balance. And they wonder why they cannot yield results. So if you want to love people perfectly, you can't do it, but Yah can do it through you. But it all depends on how much are you devoting, dedicating, and yielding yourself to Yah. Yah is always the bar, speaking. He's always speaking. He's always talking. And it's not always audible, because even when we read the Tanakh, he caused situations to happen as a response to the appeal, the request that was placed up for the opportunity to open up so that time and chance can have its way. Opportunity is time and chance. That is what is proper timing, and chance equals opportunity. That is what you are invoking when you appeal to Yah. All right. So I want to start y'all off with that. For those of y'all, my Facebook friends, y'all tuned in to my Facebook live session. I was pulling everybody over here to YouTube, but I had to drop some gems because there were people that watching, and I know the Most High wanted to give them a message. You know what I mean? And And I don't claim to be a Nebi, a prophet, you know what I'm saying? I don't claim to be anything but a servant. But I realize that as a servant, the master gives you a message, you have to deliver it. Doesn't matter who you are as that servant. All right, you have an obligation to the master. I've surrendered myself to Yah as much as I possibly can. I make mistakes. I'm not perfect. Nobody is. But I realize that in my mistakes, I'm reminded of my humane state so I can relate to other people. Sometimes people cut off their humane state in order to have some sense of devotion to Yah, where they don't need other people. And that's not how Yah operates. That is not how He operates. Yes, we need moments of solitude, and that's fine. But we are inherently, physiologically, psychologically social creatures. And that's how the Most High has created us. He did not want man to be by himself, but He wanted him to be with opposite strengths. It's not helpmate. It's an opposite strength. The woman is not your helpmate. The woman is not your rib, because that word is even a physical rib. It's the inner chamber. Family, listen to what I'm saying. I said this a what we call it, a closed mouth didn't get pled. The woman is your opposite strength. She's not just merely a helpmeet. So men, if you're looking for a woman just to help you and that's it, then you are failing the divine command from Yah that woman has to provide in your life. She has to be your strength when you are weak. And if you get a weak woman, you can't expect to get any strength from her, and your favor that you obtain from Yah is going to be limited. So you have to look for a woman that is your opposite strength. Okay, so we can't do any more of this chauvinism, misogyny. We got to get rid of that. When a man leads righteously, a woman will fall in her place. So you should not have to poke and prod her and convince her and persuade her. It must flow organically. But you have to be in your righteous role, and in doing so, she will fall in line. And we have to keep this in mind. That is how you lead, by example. If she's not seeing these examples, then she's not going to trust to follow you. So keep this in mind, family, all right? So anyway, so with that being said, let's move forward. Somebody says I'm chopping up. Damn. If everything is working well, hit 1. I can't really switch the signal back because I'm already locked in. Hit 1 if everything is good. Hit 1. Now I got to go check to make sure everything's working well. I do not want it to be choppy. Hit 1 if everything is working well. Hit 1. All right. Okay, y'all saying it's fine. Okay, that might be some people's internet then. All right. All right, so let's get started, family. This is called a weekend review. Let me go into some stuff. Those of you who saw my live stream the other day on YouTube, before I put up the 2 sessions that I had, the first one was Harry Rosenberg, and the other one was with Vocab Malone. It was back to back. Neither one of them I was like really in-depthly prepared for, right? But I wanted to do it anyway, right? And it wasn't even, neither one was a real debate. It was just a discussion. If it was a real debate, there would have been a massive PowerPoint. Y'all know how I do with the sources and the terminology, man. That's when I'm really prepared. When y'all see me talk on these teleconferences, I'm not even prepared, family. When I say prepared, I mean I don't have like all my notes together and everything. No, I may have something quick some notes that I draft up, but I'm not prepared. So a lot of times, you know, people understand, or they look at it and they say, well, Divine's going in, but I'm only going in 20-30%. I'm not going in 1,000. You feel what I'm saying? Like when I do an official structured debate, which I've had several in my life, I go in 1,000. You feel what I'm saying? Unless I'm sabotaged, right? Unless they cut me off. I mean, these are things that they do because when the information is flowing, it's coming out, they got to do a lot of damage control. You know what I'm saying? That's not good for their PR, right? So they do things to kind of skew that. The only times I haven't encountered that is when I've done university type debates. And when I've done those debates, everything was fair, neutral. And when I can control the platform, as y'all see that I've started to do with my channel, I've started to open up and do different things like these live streams like this, and panel discussions and formal debates. I'm now branching out and doing that because people like that interaction as well. You know, so I wanted to provide that on Kingdom Harbinger Ministries YouTube channel. But when I was going against both Harry and both Vocab, just throwing jabs, It's 20%, 20, 30%, just throwing jabs. You know, half the time I'm multitasking. Like when I was when I was going against Vocab and Harry, I was doing like 2, 3 other things at the same time and looking at my screen. I was not fully focused on it. You know what I'm saying? And that's not a knock to them. You know what I'm saying? But that's just saying that, you know, this is stuff that is embedded in me. So it's natural when it comes out. You feel what I'm saying? But both of those discussions, I have it up on the YouTube channel. So you'll go back and watch it. Share it with every group that you can, with everybody that you know. Share it so they can see these discussions. The one with Harry Rosenberg. So let's rewind. Let's rewind. We can review. So let's go back to last year. All right. And those of y'all who've been following me, whether it's on my YouTube channel, those of y'all have been following me, whether it's on Facebook, on Instagram, and I'm not on Twitter yet. I might get on Twitter though. But those who've been following me from day one, or if y'all just started following me this year, or those who have been following me since last year at least, y'all realize that Vocab Malone came out against the Hebrew Israelite community, right? And Vocab Malone coming out the Hebrew Israelite community. I mean, y'all can go back and watch the James White video called Hebrew Israelism with Vocab Malone. And I'm going to show y'all some pages from his book. And the reason I'm going to do this is because he put my name in it. Okay, so I'm going to speak on it because he put my name in it. Okay, so what was I saying? So last year he was going on this tirade, he went on this campaign where he was exposing the Hebrew community. And he says he doesn't call it a cult, but the way he brandishes it makes it seem like a cult. He's trying to save people from this lifestyle. And again, in any walk of life, you're going to have good and bad people. You know, you're going to have good and bad people. I don't care what you subscribe to. People are still people. People are flawed. All right. And in their flaws, the Most High tries to show his perfection through the flaws of men. And that is a very daunting task for Yah. Hence why he has so much patience with us, and why when we learn from him, we learn to have patience on others, right? So in understanding that, I realized that he just wanted to point out what he saw as being negative in the community. He never seeks out to look at all the positive things that's done in the community. Because in his mind, even though he may say it, he may not say it, Front Street is a cult, he sees it as being a cult. So he came out last year on Apologia Radio, Jeff Durbin's platform. And then from there, he jumped to James White's Alpha and Omega Ministries platform. And he was being very vocal about the Hebrew Israelite community. And a lot of people were coming to him who were damaged in the community, right? And I want to say this. There's people in our community that are damaged. There's people in our community that are hurt or disappointed. I want to let you know, family, if you've been hurt, damaged, disappointed from your walk in this community, do not charge it to Yah. Okay? Do not charge it to the culture. Do not charge it to the lifestyle. Do not charge it to the obligation that we have to Yah in the community. Charge it to flawed people. And I don't care if you leave this community and you go anywhere else in life as people, you're going to encounter the same thing. So like I said before, my Facebook Live is all about perspective. All right. And it has to do with endurance and perseverance. And a lot of us, we don't have those character traits. And the reason why we go through it is so that the Most High can embed that into us. But you cannot see what's in you unless you're tested. Right. So what he was doing was he was banking on the fact that there was a lot of hurt people, you know, whether it's relationship hurt, whether it's congregation can't hurt, whatever it may be. He was banking on the fact that these people will come out crying and screaming to him, say, oh, I've been deceived, I've been abused, and they will come out and say these things. And again, I'm not excusing any of that. If you've been abused, you need to speak up and tell somebody, and you need justice, okay? So aside from that, you cannot charge it to the community as a whole, because when you do what's called the hasty generalization, when you take from a small sample and you blanket it on everybody else, you're committing a logical fallacy. And in the end, you're only hurting yourself, and you're only being a bit delusional on how you convey it to others, as if everybody in the community is the same way. And the same thing happens with people who are battered in relationships, right? Or people who have been abused or molested. They tend to think that the people that represent, whether it's gender-based, race-based, the people who have abused them, they then blanket everybody else under that umbrella. And it becomes unfair to them because they have not healed from it. And healing is a process. It's not going to happen overnight. And this is why we need organizations in our community that deals with healing people. This is why I do lessons on empowerment. This is why I give y'all heart to heart, because people need to be healed, family. And I know some people, some people who are so like about it. It's like, nah, that's soft. No, it's not soft. See, when you're so more disciplined, right, you become more objective, right? You become more goal-oriented, right? You have to be in a process of healing. And nobody's exempt from healing, because we've all been hurt. We've all been lied to. We've all been beat, bruised, and battered. But this should not be an excuse for us to sell out our community because we've been hurt. This is not an excuse to do that. This is not a pass to do that, right? If you're going to seek healing, do so that way you're not on Front Street. Because the moment that you make things public and people are aware of it, you will come under attack, whether it's spiritual attack or physical attack. So you have to use hukmah. You have to use wisdom to know how to articulate not just what you say, but what you do and how you act. And if you don't know how to do that and you need mentorship, we have that in Kingdom Harbinger Ministries. All right. Remember, family, the line is open. All right. 917-774-9646. You can call in at any time. All right. So let me go back. All right. So with that being said, I realized that he wanted to look for those who have been felt they've been disenfranchised from the community. There's always outcasts everywhere, people who've been outcasts, whatever, excommunicated, whatever the case may be. But the thing with vocab is that he said about 8 to 10 years ago, he first encountered the Hebrew Israelites. And the last 4 years or so, he started to look into creating a structured apologetic against them. And in the last 2 years is when he really got serious about it, because he was going to theology school and he was writing his dissertation and he wanted to do something unique. And because in his mind and a friend of his who was in the community, he realized that there was no structured apologetics towards the Hebrew Israelite community. And he was putting us in the same vein as Jehovah's Witness and in the same vein as not just Jehovah's Witness, as Mormons and so forth. He thinks I have Mormon theology. That's crazy. He thinks I have Mormon theology. That's insane. But anyway, so to capitalize or to enhance his paper, he said, I got to do field work, right? So what he did was he was testing his thesis on these apologia radios, these Christian apologetic radios and platforms and so forth, and then hoping that he would attract people from camps who are hurt, abused, and battered to come reach out to him and give him intel. And that's exactly what happened. So he decided to capitalize off of this and put all of this in a book. And he said on a post that I'm just a small wave, and all I'm doing is waking up all Christian apologists everywhere to focus and hone in and concentrate on the Hebrew Israelite community. This is what his goal is. This is what he said. And I can screenshot it and show y'all. I already screenshot. I can show y'all. This is what he's saying. So when I peep wind of this, if you'll go back and watch the video that I put up with, it's called Divine Prospect and Vocab Malone, When Two Apologists Collide. Because I'm a Hebrew Israelite apologist. He's a Christian apologist. Okay. And I say apologist, even though it may sound like a Western term, but it's necessary because we're in a Western environment and we have to protect our worldview. We have to have a way to respond to all types of inquiries that come our way, whether it's modernist or postmodernist inquiries. We have to be able to respond to them. We have to be able to have a structured way of responding. It has to be instinctive so we can give an answer to every man that acts the hope that's in us, okay, with a sense of fear and reverence, because we represent Yah. We represent a community, all right? So when I say this is, I realize that his agenda did not seem pure. And again, I don't hate Christians, family. I don't hate Christians. I know Christians. I know pastors. I have family that's Christians. I don't hate Christians. What I detest is the egregore of Christendom. when people force proselytize other people, when people capitalize or they capitalize off of categorizing certain people as being something because they don't understand. They only seek for the bad and not the good. And when you're a person that trolls constantly, when you're a person that seeks for the bad and not the good, there's character flaws in you that need to be corrected, that need to be addressed. And I realized that this brother, he needed somebody who has a staunch position on being an Israelite, but has a leveled head on their shoulders to really talk to the brother and say, hey, I know that you see the bad in that community, but are you also highlighting the good? Because when I read his book, and I'm going to show you some pages, I didn't see him say anything good per se. So how is that being objective? Even if we look at the Jehovah's Witness and the Mormons, who I do not subscribe to, there's still some things they do that is good for the community. Now, like I said all the time, the road to hell is paved with good intentions, but in the process, the good that people receive, they may need it in that moment. Even the Roman Catholic Church. Matter of fact, let me give you an example of what I mean by that. Y'all know I don't subscribe to Roman Catholic theology, but the Roman Catholic Church has helped a lot of people. I have a family member of mine, and I'm not going to say, somebody says they're trying to call and it's going to voicemail. It's going to voicemail. What? Hold on, family. I don't want to lose my thought. It's going to voicemail. Let me see. Hold on, let me see. It shouldn't. Oh, somebody did leave a voicemail. Hold on, let me see what's going on, family. Give me 1 second. I'm calling it. Oh, it is going to voicemail. It's not even ringing. All right. I apologize for that, family. Give me 1 second. I'm glad I caught that. Hold on, family. Hold on, family. Hold on. I don't like gaps of silence. All right. Let me I hate doing this because I'm gonna get a lot of messages. Hold on, family. I apologize for that. Damn. Hold on, family. Hold on. See, I got all of these phones. I got a whole bunch of phones. See, look, I got 2 more phones here. All right, so wow, I don't know what's going on, family. Hold on. Okay, I don't know what's going on, but let me see if I can give y'all an alternative number. Hold on real quick. Let's see if I can give y'all an alternative number. Hold on, family. Hold on. This thing is. Hold on. Let me see if I can give you an alternative number. Hold on. All right. Let me finish what I was saying. Damn, I don't know what's going on with the phone. All right, I'll get back to it. It should be connecting. All right, let's see. Hold on. All right, let me see if I can give y'all this alternate number. Apologize for that, family. Just give me a second, all right? All right. All right. I got another call. I got another call number. Hopefully this one will work this time. I got another call-in number. 9646. I apologize for that, family. Give me 1 second. All right, I'm gonna finish what I was saying while this is doing whatever it's doing. All right, so what I was saying was, even the Roman Catholic Church, somebody calling me? Hold on, let's see. Let me see. Shalom, shalom. What's going on? Hold on. I can hear you. All right. What number did you call? 917 number? Yeah, I got the number that's on the line. All right, cool. Is this Edric? Yeah, man. Yeah, man. What's good? That's good, man. All right, family. Hold on, Edric. Family, hit 1 if you can hear him. Hit 1 if you can hear him. Because this sounds a little bit low, but hit 1 if you can hear him. All right. So what's good? So I see this is working now. Because I'm on my phone, so I can't watch the video and talk at the same time. But I just wanted to know, like, how can we best, like, give our point of worldview and still, speak with boldness and, still get our because at the end of the day, it's gonna take a community, because we know we're people and we the people. Okay, so you said how can we maintain our worldview and still speak with boldness? Is that what you were saying? Yeah, like speak with these scriptures. Pull out the Bible, but it tends to turn people away when they come back with knowledge, like you see vocab alone. I don't want to have that. But of course, brothers having the spirit, like, so somebody coming to you, what I mean? Threatening me. So, gotcha. So you're breaking up a little bit, Edric, but I got what you were saying. So how do we maintain our worldview and still speak with boldness? And I would say it all starts with discipline, right? We have to learn how to curb our carnal desire to convert somebody, to prove things to people, because every time that we feel the need that we have to do that, it will put a damper or will hinder our effectiveness, right? So we have to be solid on the foundation that we stand on. And when we're confident on what we stand on, then we'll be more confident to convey it to other people. And I realize that the strongest people are not the ones that bark the loudest. It's the ones that know when to bark and when to bite, and when to wait to bark or to bite. So we have to be able to balance these things. And I realize that apologetics for the Hebrew Israelite community is what is empowering us to be more staunch in our position and be more effective at communicating how we feel. We cannot let our emotions get the best of us. I'm gonna place you on hold real quick, Edric. I got another call coming in. All right. All right. Peace and shalom. This is Divine Prospect. Who's speaking? Oh, my Aunt Marielle. What's good, King? I'm doing good. I'm doing. Hold on. Say your name again.
You kind of breaking up a little bit. I'm sorry.
Oh, man, I'm gonna have to fix this because the signal's bad in here. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, I hear you.
Yeah, just tell the people who you are again.
Yeah, my name is Mario Villahu. I attend Shawway Hot Tour. If you're familiar, I think I should shout out to them real quick.
Mm-hmm.
But I had a comment to make with talking about with the mandate on my I know it was so real and everything. But I was listening to one of one of their live casts debate they had a sister on there, and I guess she was involved with a guy who just came through or so, but he was trying to enforce polygamy. And this also kind of gets into like a topic I kind of want you to kind of talk about as well, as far as how do women go about as far as dealing with this marriage period, as far as like the proper protocols to go through with the marriage, and if they can't get to a marriage, I mean, if they don't like a marriage or anything, how they have the proper protocols to get out of a marriage. Because I see a lot of women that come, they get true, but they get attached to it, or they lead them to truth. They can, man, to and I know a lot of sisters just trying to come to the truth because that's something that they, desire or yearn for or something like that. So they're very vulnerable at certain times, and a lot of guys will pick up onto that and try to go into it. So I'm saying that to say, like, when I listen to this little talk or so, the sister was explaining like her husband was coming through and he was coming through watching YouTube. I mean, not ready to call out the cancel like that on your platform, but you pretty much understand like these are the cats that be out yelling and talking about like different Esau doctrines and hatred doctrines and stuff like that. And then the moment like women can't speak or anything like that, and the moment that sister trying to talk or something like that, especially feelings and she's getting called to devil. So she was pretty much getting that he was becoming very abusive, like verbally and.
All right. You're breaking up a little bit, Ak, but I think that's my phone. I'm going to hang up, but I'm going to set call forwarding up so that way you can call back in, all right? Let me hang up real quick. All right. Sorry about that, family. The connection is really bad here, so I'm going to forward it to I'm going to forward the calls. Don't call in right now. Just give me a second. Let me put call forwarding up so that way y'all can really hear. Here we go. All right. Let me set call forwarding up so that way y'all can really hear, because I know it's kind of choppy and it was breaking up. And the brother was saying something really good. He was talking about hold on. I always use this number. What the heck is that? All right, hold on, family. And I'm gonna get back to the Roman Catholic thing that I was talking about. I remember what I was talking about. I didn't forget it. All right. All right, family. You can call in again. It'll be on my house phone now, so it'll be much better. But before you call, do a test to make sure that it's gonna work. So hold on 1 second. Let's see. Sorry, I should have. I mean, I just thought about it last minute to set up the phone. So next session going forward, I'm not gonna have none of these technical difficulties. All right. So just give me a second. Let me see. if this works. All right, cool. All right, we all set, family. So y'all can call in now. Y'all can call in. So Edric and Brother Mariel, if y'all want to call back in, y'all can call back in. Or if anybody else wants to call in, y'all can call in. All right. So so I was answering Edric's question. He was like, how do we convey our worldview, but with boldness, right? In light to people who may not subscribe to what we believe in. And this is why I'm a staunch or advocate for Hebraic apologetics, because apologetics structures you on how to convey your worldview, sans emotion. You can be very objective and just give the information, because if you represent what you subscribe to being the truth, then the truth can speak for itself. The truth doesn't need you to add subjectively how you feel behind it. You just convey the information, right? And like I tell people, it's the hierarchy is a pyramid of needs, or the pyramid of achievements, and we have to hit self-actualization. When we learn how to get to that point in life, and sometimes a lot of ups and downs may take us away from that, but the goal is to strive to do so, because it makes you more objective, right? And you're more empowered, right? Because you are, what people say, you are catering to your higher self or your spiritual self. And when you're able to do so, when you convey information that's rational and logical, you don't have to put a whole lot of emotion, and people will see it in that format. And then the other brother, Mario, what he was saying was, he was talking about sisters that get involved in polygyny and have bad situations. And he was making a reference to these sisters that were in camps, because he said that he was watching a session with Shield Squad, and a sister had called in who had a bad experience in a polygynous relationship from a brother in a camp. And he was speaking on the fact that the sister was being abused, and she was told not to speak her mind and stuff like that. And he was just giving his perspective on that subject matter, on how should that be regulated righteously. So I did a session on this, you know, for those who need, and the sisters that get involved in that, if the person that you are engaging with polygyny in, and mind you, my position is I support polygyny, but I also support monogamy. So I'm not indifferent to either or. It depends on what your scenario is. So I'm not, this is why I don't really speak much on it, because I'm not gung-ho on either position. I'm saying this is options that cater to a person's lifestyle. So what I'm saying is, sisters that engage themselves in a polygynous situation, just ensure that the first question you ask this man is, what is your game plan for me and my children, if you have children? What is your game plan? Spiritually, how can you maintain us? Physically, how can you maintain us? Financially, how can you maintain us? Emotionally, how are you going to handle us? Give them scenarios and situations. Say, what would you do in this situation? What would you do in that situation? Do you have a 5-year plan for us? Do you have a 10-year plan for us? How is the funds going to be budgeted? How is the housing going to work? All of these things have to come to mind, and he has to be able to have a game plan. Don't let him run game on you and try to say, oh, well, you know, you're a single mother and you need a man to protect you. Don't let him run game on you. Oh, this is what you got to do if you want to get in the kingdom. I mean, that's them running game, because they're convinced that that is what they were taught. And this is, and I don't fault them. This is what they're being taught on how they should go about polygyny. And this is why it gives polygyny a very bad name. So sisters, if you get involved in it, ask the man, what is your game plan? And say, if a situation occurs, what is the audible? What is your audible play, right? So anybody that plays Madden, you know what an audible is? It's like a play on the fly. If this scenario happens, an unknown variable happens, how are you going to handle that? How are you going to resolve that? How are we all going to partake in a family empire where everybody is crucial and critical to contributing to the overall good of the family? How are we going to promote the family name? How are we going to increase the integrity of what we represent and who we are? How, when people encounter this, do they see Yah and our formation and our structure? What do people see when they see us? How do you envision this? He has to have a game plan for you. And if he doesn't have a game plan, that doesn't mean the brother cannot take care of you. It just means that variables are going to come up, unknown variables are going to come up that he may not be able to address because he doesn't have a game plan where that is structured. So this is to encourage the brothers, if you want to engage in this, have a game plan to offer the sisters, right? And ensure that your Isha is okay with it and that she's aware of what's going on. You understand what I'm saying? Even if you have to slowly bring them into it, you know, have enough courtesy so that way you have less issues going forward in handling this. I did a session on Debate Talk for You. I believe it was Debate Talk for You with Amuna Yisrael, and me and the sister was talking about polygamy, and we was going into detail about it. And in there, I truly expressed how things should be structured and formatted and how it should be overseen and so forth. All right. So another call is coming in. So let me get this call. Peace and shalom, caller. This is Divine Prospect. Tell us who you are and where you're calling from.
Okay, this is Mario. I was just calling back in. I don't know if you hear me now.
Okay, yeah, I can hear you. Hit one family if you can hear him clearly, because I think I can hear you much better now. Can you hear me better now?
Yes, I can hear you a whole lot better.
All right, so go ahead.
Okay, so I mean, I guess what I was getting at is that, and I've dealt with quite a few sisters that came into the truth, and they was just coming to the truth. So what I would consider them would be like babies. And I do view everybody who come into truth as far as like ranking, as far as like age wise or something like that. And if I were to put into a range or so, it's kind of like I see it similar to like a spiritual statutory rate. If anything, and like I feel like they really not knowing truth all the way or everything about it or anything, or what like what the culture actually teaches and stuff like that, because the Torah actually teaches or actually deals a lot with protecting our women.
Yes.
So a lot of stuff is put up to men where men can or do with our wives or so like that. Exodus 21:10, and 11 is pretty much the example. If you don't provide or shelter, food, or marital duties, the women have the right to leave.
Exactly.
So I'm saying say like a lot of women don't know, a lot of brothers don't teach about like the ketubah, or even dealing with the ketubah, because the ketubah is used as as far as like a marriage contract to protect the women.
And it's an insurance policy.
It's dealing with the diary or dealing with what was expecting into the marriage, as far as what expected out of her and what expected after marriage.
Because it's an insurance policy for the woman, right? And that's what that contract is. And a lot of brothers say, oh, but you don't have to get a ketubah in order to be officially married. And I'm saying, well, in order to write a bill of divorce, it has to nullify a contract that's already in existence, a physical paper contract. This is a legal document, right? And we see this marriage alliance situation occur when we look at Shlomo and Pharaoh, right, or the Pharaoh. And we see that marriage was an alliance that's made, something that is contractual agreement, right? So I'm gonna let you go on, bro. I just wanted to add that, but you're absolutely correct. Go on.
Okay, and then that's very true. And I like to I want to make sure a lot of sisters would know about that, is because a lot of the guys will use sex as saying that, oh, well, we have sex, so your marriage is consecrated. So therefore, now they feel that they're in control or something like that. Now they're brought in, and then not only that, a lot of brothers will use that as far as like even stressing out polygyny, because they'll bring in somebody and then not really put them onto game as far as like a lot of stuff that's dealing with the culture. They're not teaching the culture or anything like that, because I see a lot of sisters that actually is completely awakened and stuff like that, know the insides and everything, and it's hard to get them into polygyny. So they'll go after the people who just coming in and then try to snatch them up with polygyny, and then that's like they not doing anything with the spouse, or the spouses don't know about each other or anything like that. And then you find them like, okay, well, I don't want to do this anymore. But the guys are saying like, no, you got to stay here. You're trapped in here and stuff like that. And now the sisters are getting rebellious, which is the Torah, or just following the Bible or following the culture period, because they're being turned away, or just how guys are just being treating our women. That's when we have women going around saying that, oh, you're Hebrew. And I don't know how many times, like my wife, she's perfectly fine with polygamy. So we're not looking for a sister wife. A lot of people who come across will be like, no, you're a Hebrew. We know how y'all treat men and stuff, or how y'all treat our women and stuff. And I'm like, no, it's not like that. It's we're very open. I have certain protocols and certain limitations expectation that I even put myself on, so I won't overstep certain boundaries and stuff like that, so I won't be disrespectful to my wife.
Exactly.
So I try to be a good example as far as that, but there's not too many brothers that are out there that are doing it the right way, or is not doing this marriage period the right way.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of sisters feel that they get caught up and then they get shut down. So I also want to also express that there's a way as far as like you want to go through elders and stuff like that. So I know that elders is a very big in the community as well. As you know, the elders trying to get out of the marriage or something like that and get a divorce or something like that. So, you know, like don't be trapped there with these guys that will say, you know, oh, when we had sex, we consecrated the marriage. Oh, and then we'll use Yahshua as far as say, oh, there's no such thing as divorce or something like that. So there's
that's out of context. That's definitely out of context.
There's no such thing as divorce, or you
but
have to work it out. So now these women will be trapped, saying, oh, well, I will go, you know, the Most High will be disappointed into me if I did divorce. So next thing you know, they living a miserable, burden life, all for their husband's happiness.
All right, so let me just sum up because I want to take more calls. I appreciate you calling in.
I take it out of
No.
Like you got
No. You all good. You're all good. But I'm saying you made a very righteous point, and that is, you know, we don't want our women to feel trapped when they're in situations simply because the man that they're with is not taught righteously how to go about something, and because they're not aware of what rights that they have. And this is something that we have to work on internally in our community, because otherwise we're going to have a lot of people abused, battered, and suppressed and not get the justice that they deserve. And they're going to be the very ones who are going to reach out to people on the outside who are attacking our community to get relief. So we have an obligation as men to protect our women, also to protect the men who are unaware. We got to take time out and pull them aside and say, bro, I don't think you're doing this right, but consider this. So everything you're saying was gold. I appreciate it, but I'm going to take more calls, okay? Thank you for your support as always.
I appreciate it for the time. Thank you so much.
Anytime, King.
All right,
shalom. All right, so I know people was calling while he was talking, but y'all can call back in. I just wanted to finish what I was saying as far as the Catholic situation, right? So, and he brought that up because it was linked to the Vocab Malone situation. So we'll see that the people that are hurt and, all right, hold on. Peace and shalom, this is Divine Prospect. Caller, tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Shalom, this is Edric again from Kansas City.
Peace, Edric. Peace, Edric. Did you want to add something else to what you were saying earlier?
Oh, yeah, you kind of answered it up for me. I mean, it was basically, you was right with the carnal things, because people, he said, be blameless, and as long as people can poke and throw things at your righteous armor, you always have to deal with that, you know what I mean? So I kind of get what you were saying. I just wanted to question you about the covenantal. Like when you asked Vocab, I didn't get to see the one with Harry Rosenberg yet, but he was basically saying he had a systematic view of how to kind of excerpt or to like pick and choose from what covenant. Like he picked the David covenant, which would have been the law. You know, he picked the Noahic covenant, which was again the law, because he wouldn't answer the question. You said, how did Abraham follow the law? And he said, oh, well, he lied. You know what I mean? Like how do you like give us the real? Because you know you didn't give it to him. You kind of went lightweight on him, but like I want to help, like because the people in the community would better understand. Like when Abraham did his life, and that promise went through his lineage, and the promise also went through the lineage of David, and the promise was like it wasn't new, but it was like okay, it's living in flesh by this Messiah who's walking and breathing and talking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you can kind of.
So, all right. Thank you for the call, Edric. I'm gonna go ahead and respond to your message. I'm only gonna hang up just so I can open the line for other callers. Thank you for calling in.
Yeah, I'm on.
Okay, cool. Thank you for calling in. Thank you for your support as always. You know it's nothing but love. And I'm gonna highlight you again. Okay, I'm just gonna hang up so I can just leave the line open. But I'm gonna address your inquiry. Okay.
I appreciate that.
All right, Chief. All right, so he was saying that in regards to dealing with Vocab Malone is a progressive covenantalist, and this is a subset of New Covenant theology. Okay, I showed the books. Matter of fact, let me show y'all. I'm gonna show y'all the books. I'm gonna show y'all the books I have. I'm gonna show you the 2 books that I was asking him about. So you can go back and read. And mind you, these are not quick reads. These books are hundreds of pages long. Okay. So imagine how much time it took me to go through all of them, right? I'm gonna show you the books. Let me do. I'm gonna show you the books. All right. Here's the books. All right. Let me make sure you can see my screen. Peace and shalom, family. This is Divine Prospect. Tell us your name and where you're calling from. Hello? Caller, you there? Hello? Okay. All right. So if you look at my screen, family, you'll see question. Do you subscribe to the information in the following books for your doctrine of progressive covenantalism? If so, can you refer us to a systematic theology course on this data? So that way everybody's privy of what his worldview is and how it's systematically structured to deal with various elements in the text that come against the thesis of his all right, hold on. Peace and shalom, family. This is Divine Prospect. Can you tell the callers your name and where you're calling from? Caller, you there? Hello? Caller, you there? Can't hear nothing. Hello? I don't know what's going on. Sorry about that call. I'm not sure why your call's not coming through, but so these are the 2 books, right? It's called Kingdom Through Covenant, A Biblical Theological Understanding of the Covenants by Peter J. Gentry and Stephen J. Wellum. So Stephen J. Wellum is really the spokesperson for this doctrine, okay? So look him up on YouTube and watch his videos, but also purchase this book and read it for yourself, all right? Progressive Covenantalism. This is by Stephen J. Wellum and Brent E. Parker. Again, you see Stephen J. Wellum. This book, Vocab, has not read this book, Kingdom Through Covenants. He's read Progressive Covenantalism, but he did not read Kingdom Through Covenants. Me, on the other hand, we dive in both, okay? So I was fully prepared to have this discussion with him, okay? So if you want to understand his doctrine, you got to read these books, right? And out of reading these books, you know how to ask him the right questions, which I did, okay? Because I'm familiar with the doctrine. And also what I was trying to do was expose him to his Christian audience and show them that this is what he agrees with. This is why I ask certain doctrinal questions, because based on how he answered, it would put him in conflict or contradiction with some of the other people who are in his circle and other people that are watching him. Not to put them against each other, because I'm not one to sow discord, but so they can have a discussion internally about, man, we got to get our doctrine situation together, because we can't keep banging on Hebrews and saying the Hebrew Israelites are not united with their doctrine when we ain't even got our doctrine together. You feel what I'm saying? So that's what that is. That's what that's there for, family. All right. So so anyway, his question he was reading was talking about Abraham, right? So in dealing with Abraham, the question I asked him is that I said, did Abraham keep the Most High's Torah in the form of the statutes, laws, and commandments? He said no, blah blah. Abraham was he believed, and his belief was counted as righteousness. Peace and shalom, caller. This is Divine Prospect. Please tell the people your name and where you're calling from.
Shalom, my brother. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. How you doing, sis?
I am doing well, thank you. How are you?
I'm blessed. I'm blessed. No complaints. Praise Yah.
Praise Yah. And shalom to the family here watching the live stream. This is Shani from Truth with Shani, the moderator to your show. And brother, I just wanted to call in because you were talking about multiple marriages, and I heard what the brother was saying. And from my point of view, brother, and I'm just keeping it real with you, I have to be honest, a lot of brothers in the Western Hemisphere, they have it all messed up. And they're not doing it according to Torah. Mm-hmm. Okay? Because in In Africa, multiple marriages is totally different from the way that these brothers over here in the United States and in the Caribbean, the way that they think that it is.
Exactly.
Now,
exactly.
And if we look at the example of our foremother, okay, Sarai, and if we look at the example of Rachel and Leah, they all had an agreement, an understanding with one another. Okay? A perfect example. When Leah and Rachel, when they came to an agreement with one another, one of them met Jacob. He was coming in from the field and told him, "You to come with me this night."
Exactly.
The sisters did not violate one another.
Exactly.
Even though there was multiple wives going on. Abraham did not marry another until Sarai was dead.
Exactly.
Then he married Keturah.
Exactly. Exactly.
So I would like you to explain that to the brothers, because a lot of brothers have it wrong and they're manipulating these women into believing that, you know, their philosophy of what they think it is, which is a philosophy that is not according to Torah. Exactly. Would you do that, please? Sure.
Thank you, Shawnee, for calling in and giving your question. I'm gonna answer it. I'm gonna hang up only because I want to open a line for other callers. But you know, it's nothing but love, sis. I thank you for moderating and supporting the ministry since day one. And we got you. I got you.
I love all of y'all.
Shalom, sis.
All right, shalom. Bye-bye.
All right. So, and you know, this is relevant to what I wanted to talk about tonight, because this was one of the questions that Vocab asked me, right? He asked me, do I subscribe to polygyny, and can you give me a scripture? And I gave him a scripture that dealt with equity, and it went over his head. You know, he's like, well, I wouldn't have chosen that scripture. And then I gave an example in regards to David and Solomon. Now, David and Solomon are not the best examples for laymen in order to practice polygyny, because you are not a king. Okay, you may think you are, and it's okay to have that term in order to uplift your spirit, but you're not David and you're not Solomon. So don't be going out here trying to get all of these wives and concubines, because you cannot support them. All right. And they could. So I use them as an example in regards to show that we don't hear anything that Solomon or David did ill towards his wives or even his concubines. He treated them with fairness and equity. The problem with Solomon is that he got foreign women, and because he loved all of them so much, he wanted to please them. And we see that this is one of the things that a man has to do, is in certain ways he has to satisfy his wife. But if the woman that you're with is gravitating you towards someone or something other than Yah, that's going to cause a big issue in your marriage. All right. You'll have to be on the same page. You have to be on one accord. All right. You got to be ride or die for this, for real. So, brothers, we need a crash course on how polygyny is done. And I have a PowerPoint on that. I lost it, but I'm going to make another one. I wish I had it because I could show y'all right now. But I had a whole PowerPoint set up where I show it historically, I show it scientifically, I show it culturally, I show it scripturally, and I show all these different elements because I want to show you building a case for it, and also show you how to apply it righteously. Remember, I said the number one thing is a game plan. And what the sister Shawnee was talking about is part of that game plan. How are things going to be arranged when I get involved in a situation? Okay. And again, polygyny can be extremely beneficial to all parties involved if it is done with the righteousness, with the pure motive, and with the game plan in mind to enhance the family. Okay. But what the sister was saying as far as the agreement with Rachel and Leah, the situation in regards to Abraham, we see all of these pre-exilic examples on how polygyny was performed and the various things that was there. So the scriptures give you pros and cons in regards to polygyny. Okay. And given the fallen state that we're in, given the fact that there are more black women than black men in America, given that men are physiologically wired for multiple mates, not saying that all of them are conscious enough to handle that. So a lot of them cannot engage in that because mentally, spiritually, emotionally not there. But there is scientifically embedded us on how to address that. So I'm going to do a course on that so that I can mentor our brothers, and I'm a teacher sister, so she can do a course as well to mentor the sisters, so you guys can get that information. Let me get this call. All right, peace and shalom. This is Divine Prospect. Caller, please tell us your name and where you're calling from.
On Facebook is Jen Brooks. I'm calling from Atlanta.
Oh, you in Atlanta? All right, cool. Shalom, Mark.
Shalom, peace, King.
Peace. What you want to say to the people? What's going on?
So you know, like as I put on your Facebook post when y'all first started, you know, and I'm not into the discourse thing either. But the thing is, like, when you're trying to explain to people outside of us who we are, they still want to put certain monikers on us and you know, and put certain stipulations on us because they're unlearned. You know, when they look at polygamy or monogamy or whatever, they're unlearned on how we deal with the culture. But I want you to deal with some, if you could, Deuteronomy 28:16 in the last sentence. It says, and no man shall buy you. So no matter how much we debate with these people, they ain't trying to buy what we're talking about. Even if we feel like we're in the truth. And my thing is, like you said, you know, well, you didn't say it. I'm kind of paraphrasing. You got to kind of spoon feed them, kind of, you know, to grasp what we're doing. But a lot of those Christian apologists, they ain't trying to buy what we selling. They ain't trying to be on that same page, no matter how hard we try.
Exactly.
You know, it's cool. You know, it's cool that they want to debate and they want to share knowledge and stuff like that. But when they use a term like black and black and Hebrew and Hebrew Israelites, like for some reason they still putting us in that same slave bunch of that same people, and we trying to. As a collective, we trying to bring each other out of that, but when we talk to a lot of these people, they put us back into that same state of mind, and a lot of us who aren't strong in the faith, because they put us in that bunch of people again. A lot of us, we run from the faith because we don't want to be lumped in that bunch, and some of us are looked at as radical, but that's why I'm trying to see if you understand what I'm saying.
Oh yeah.
As far as people, we trying to not sell them something as far as getting a monetary gain, but we trying to get them the truth. But the scripture say no man shall buy you, because we got to get ourselves right first, and then, you know, they can buy into what we got going on.
Excellent. That was excellent, Ak. And I truly appreciate you expressing that, because you're on the same page as me. And, you know, they don't understand our cause, right? And because they don't understand our cause, they're not trying to buy into, quote unquote, what it is that we're saying. They see us as hopeless blacks that need leadership and need guidance and need Christ, right? So it's very unfortunate, because this is a modern day crusade that's being done on our community. You know, and these are individuals, especially Vocab, and I'm not saying the brother's racist, anything like that. I don't know him enough in order to make that judgment call. But the way that I perceive he looks at the black community is he engages our culture so he can be hip and urban, but his objective or his agenda is to save these lost black folk, right? So they don't know what they're doing. They need guidance. They need direction. They need to be liberated. They need freedom in Christ. You know, they offer these things to you, which is similar to what happened pre-antebellum South, before the Civil War, when we had the Northerners that was coming to the South and giving these proclamations of freedom to the slaves. And once the slaves got free, guess what? Those Northerners who was advocating for it, they didn't have the resources in place in order to sustain those people once they came out of that situation. So they didn't get into a much better situation after that. You understand what I'm saying? Because the system of white supremacy was still existent, and they didn't do anything to systematically break it down or catalyze it to ensure that there's equity for those relieved or alleviated slaves from the South. So it's the same thing when we look at Christendom. It's the same thing. It is a crusade to save these lost, oppressed, downtrodden black people, and let me give them the hope of Christ. Let me redeem them. Let me save their soul. These Hebrew Israelites, they're lost. They don't know what they're doing. Huh?
I said you own it. That's what I'm talking. You man, that's all I wanted for you to hit. I'm gonna let you go and get some more calls, but that's what I want. 2 cents in on your conversation, man. You own it, bro.
I appreciate that, King. And we're gonna keep building on that. And I'll go more in depth in that another time. But man, we on the same page, and I thank you for sharing that with the audience, man. We loved it. And we're gonna speak to you again, Aki.
All right, peace.
All right, shalom. Peace and shalom, family. This is Divine Prospect. Please tell the audience your name and where you're calling from.
All right, bro. This is the last question. promise, bro. Like this Edric.
This Edric.
I just want to know, man.
Is this Edric? Is this Edric?
I need one more question.
All right, go ahead, Al. Go ahead.
All right, you remember? Are you familiar with the William Buckley Charles Baldwin debate?
I didn't see all of it, so I can't officially comment because I didn't see all of it. But
well, I remember you said I can't look up the university debates, but if you can send a link, I would definitely watch it. But like, you know how they asked him a question, and Charles Baldwin, he went on about the emotional state, like you say, how most brothers do, like when they get their final chance, their 15 minutes of fame. You know what I'm saying? You know how dudes think he hip and he urban and he put you out there like that, but you didn't know what he was doing, but he was calculating you. You know what I mean? Like a chess move. You know what I'm saying? So how can, like, you averted that whole situation? Like
exactly.
Charles Baldwin, he should have did with William Buckley because he was a Republican and he knew how to speak. You know what I mean? He wrote articles and all that. So how can you catch somebody and then like you said, no one to bark and no one to fight?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Because you kind of, I don't know, you know what I'm saying? You didn't finish your mouth, I already gave it to you, but you know what I'm saying? You was light on him, but it was.
Praise Yah. And that wasn't even a debate because the brother insisted that we did not have a debate. So I agree, and I agree because I knew his agenda. See, I never walk into a dialogue unawares, because if I don't know my opponent, I won't dialogue with them publicly. I will try to find a way to first understand them before I publicly dialogue with them. The problem that Vocab made was he doesn't know me, right? But and he doesn't know.
He tried to catch you in a couple of traps, and he almost got you, and you averted it. He didn't like it, and you kind of followed up on it. Like that was the art. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, praise Yah for that, man. And I give Yah all the credit because I'm representing him the best that I can. So I know what Vocab's agenda is. Like I said, I've watched him. I've studied him. I know what he's about. I looked into his doctrine. That I don't hear nobody that's on Shield Squad or his supporters talk about his doctrine, because that would be a point of contention that would then open the door for us to say, oh, so they all don't even believe in the same thing. And then we'll have a way to counter. So he did not know. The reason why he wanted to interview is because he did not know what I truly believe. So he wanted to say, hey, you know what? When I do a follow-up to my book or release the unabridged version, I need to include Divine Prospect and other Israelites like him. But first, I got to see what Divine knows. So that's why if you go back and listen to the discussion, in my intro, what did I do? I laid out the objectives. I laid out my objective and I laid out his objective. That took him off his game so much. He was like, okay, well, you know, people want this to be a debate and this and that, but that threw him off because he did not anticipate that I already knew what his chess moves were going to be before the game even started. You feel what I'm saying? And
he tried to counter you with Divine Counsel. You see how he slickly brought it up, like, oh, what about Malak? And then, you know what I'm saying, he saved it, and then he brought it back later with like 3 different facts, you know what
exactly.
I mean? He kind of murdered that one, like, what's up with it?
Yeah, so my thing is, I'm not ashamed to speak on my conclusions, right? I subscribe to where I'm at the moment, right? It may change 2 years from now, 5 years from now, and that's y'all working on me. So I'm humble enough to continue to stay a student, right? Because I lose my profession of being a teacher when I cease being a student. So I never want to lose that. But wherever I am at, I'm very firm on it, and I can explain or convey why I hold that worldview, and I could do so objectively. So let me tell you something, and since you're on the line, I'll say this, and I'm gonna let you go to open up the line. But there was one question that he asked me, and I know people who are subjective, when they heard this, they probably cringed because they didn't understand what I was saying. He said, okay, so do you believe on the ontology, like he started to use deep words, the ontology of Molech? And I was like, yeah, I subscribe to the ontology of Molech. And he was like, all right, so you say that Molech, he was the power over these Canaanite peoples, right? I was like, yes. He's like, then he asked, and he's like, do you believe that child sacrifice that they were doing was okay? That's what he said. I said, according to the culture, this is what their deity required. So the people provided it. Now, here's something interesting, and this is how I know that a lot of people that read the Bible don't read anything outside the Bible. I study archaeology, right? So I've studied. Matter of fact, I'm gonna bring it up. I'm gonna bring it up for y'all. I have the excavation reports of the Ammonites and the excavation reports of the Moabites. And when you look at the excavation reports, you get to see how they lived. Now, the child sacrifices that were given were children that were offered by the parents. They were offered by the parents because the children were either sick, because when you look at these bones in that region, they were deformed and stuff like that. So the children that were offered were mostly sick children. The children that were offered because they believed that when a child is sacrificed, that innocence of sacrifice is spread out through the rest of the community. And their mind also, the deity Molech is requiring certain things, just like Yah requires human sacrifice. I know people don't like that. He required you to put certain people to death if they break certain laws. So certain families who committed atrocious acts, their children were also sacrificed, right? So there was reasons why certain things was done. And we can look through the archaeological report of the excavations in situ when we look at these artifacts, and we can extract from that information to derive what actually occurred, reconstructing history at that time. So I was saying, objectively, according to that culture, child sacrifice was okay. And I'm gonna give you an example. Today, people will read the Bible and say, oh, the Most High told them to go into these other nations and kill everything. That would be appalling to an American, a contemporary American today, living in a society that's under this Constitution and these Bill of Rights and all of these things. That's appalling for them to even consider that a deity would have a people go and do that. But what they don't tell you is that this great nation that you subscribe to, guess what? Soldiers are overseas doing the same damn thing. Why they don't tell you about the airstrike bombings, where they're killing massive amounts of people who didn't do nothing? What about Hiroshima and Nagasaki, where you're bombing cities of civilians, right? But you still, America needs to be great again. Oh, but the Bible, man, they talked about, so you have these modern day postmodernist atheists who would say the God of the Bible is bloodthirsty, and so imagine how it's viewed by the other culture at that time. They probably viewed the Israelites as being crazy. Israelites viewed them as being crazy. They were all in their bubbles of culture. And in the times past, there's a different rules of engagement. And here's the interesting thing, and a lot of people don't even look, this is a great way to provide an apologetic. Before the Israelites went to war, they sent the diplomat to talk terms of peace with the other nations. Did people know that? Maybe I need to get the scripture. Maybe let me get a scripture for that. If people didn't know that, they went and said, hey, you know what? Hey, listen. I love you too, King. All right, shalom. All right, so the Israelites, they actually offered peace before they went to war. And with certain nations, they just didn't have to. Certain nations, they did. And in offering peace, they say, hey, listen, we want safe passage here. And we'll see that in the book of Numbers. They wanted safe passages when they was going to and about. And they were denied it, or they was met with opposition, or whatever the case may be. And we're only looking at everything from the lens of the scriptures, right? We're not looking at these other cultures to see what their principles was, what their worldviews. And I brought up Judges 11 because I showed how Jephthah, where he was speaking to the Ammonite king, and the Ammonite king said that the Israelites are encroaching upon his territory, and Jephthah had to remind them, no, Yah told us that we can have all the possessions around you. He told us not to touch you or the possession in which Molech has given you. So Molech gave them land. How was Molech able to do that unless he has some form of power? So we're not looking at the text objectively. So when I said human sacrifice according to that culture was a right thing to do, I said the only way we can convict that culture is if they were aware of the Most High statute, laws, and judgment, because sin cannot be imputed where there is no law. And the culture of the Israelites and what the Most High was contracting them into, it was detestable to Yah. He did not want the Israelites to give sacrifices to another entity that did not contract with them, because that would be violating the contract he has with them. So when I said that to him, it threw him off. Why? Because he expected me to take a subjective approach to my knowledge or information. Vocab is very religious, extremely religious, right? I'm more objective, and being more objective it allows me to see the facts in a way where I can better formulate my conclusion before I present my thesis to people, right? And once my thesis stands up to scrutiny, now it becomes a subscription. And it's a process inductively that I work up with analyzing all of this data, sorting through it, and coming to a hypothesis and using it to test against the data and opposing worldviews before I come to a conclusion. And then once I get to this conclusion, I give it to Yah and say, Yah, this is what I came up with. And he'll confirm that this is where he wants me to be at that moment, and I rock with it. Praise Yah for that, right? But he was not expecting that. So when I said that to him, it threw him off, because in his mindset, everything outside of Israel is wicked, evil, and demonic. I'm like, bro, that's the problem with Christianity. Christianity thinks that it can save everybody. And by virtue of that, you're saying that anybody else that has a cultural paradigm that's resolving their current societal ills, right? And again, this planet has been affected by colonization and imperialism heavily, right? Especially a lot of the indigenous peoples that's been westernized, converted to a westernized way of thinking and living, and the indigenous people that's been pushed more and more off their land in the rainforests and territory that's being industrialized. I mean, man, imperialism, colonialism has destroyed this planet. But what I will say in the process of that is Christianity, by way of Christendom, sought to save all these other people from their own culture. How do you save somebody from their own culture? By imposing your worldview onto them. But yet you live in America where there's freedom of religion in America, right? But you're still proselytizing. I don't understand how it works. What I'm doing is I'm seeking the lost sheep of Israel and presenting a message. I'm not trying to convert them. I'm there just to give them the message. What they do with it is on them. But what Christendom has done is that they want to put the entire planet under the rule and reign of who they call Christ. And this started with Roman Catholicism by way of the vicar of Christ, which was the papacy, who sat in the seat of Christ here on earth because he's given apostolic succession from Peter on. This is the doctrine. And they waged these crusade campaigns even before the Protestant Reformation happened. So Protestant Reformation broke away from the Roman Catholic Church, but their mindset of evangelization towards indigenous peoples was still there. They believed they had a solution in which they can save these people. Now, there's a guy on YouTube, man, and I forgot his name. Matter of fact, man. But anyway, let me just speak on it. And what he said was he was a missionary, right? He was a missionary. I think it was for the Roman Catholic Church. I think it was Roman Catholic Church, but whatever the case may be, he was going through missionary training to go and convert an indigenous populace of people in South America. And this was a tribe of people that were not accepting of Christianity. And he was taught, how do you get a indigenous people to convert over to your worldview? How do you get them to do that? He said, number one, you got to use capitalism. You have to show these people that unless they enter into Christianity, they will not be prosperous. Because this is the wave in which the world is going. You know, the world has 2 billion adherents, 2 billion plus adherents to Christianity, right? 1 billion Catholics, and the other billion Protestants and others. Okay, so you use economic means by way of capitalism, capitalism to woo those people into converting over to your worldview. And number two, you got to impose on them that they're lost. You have to teach them that you are lost. You have no direction. You don't know where you're going. You have no moral compass, and the things you're doing are fetishes, and it's against Christianity. So in infusing capitalism and infusing this sense of hopelessness, now what you're doing is you're selling this package to these indigenous people who've been living fine all these years. And the person I'm talking about, when he became an atheist towards Christianity, trying to evangelize to these indigenous peoples for years, because what he realized was these people are happy. They don't need Christianity. What the hell am I doing here? I don't have nothing to offer them that they don't already have themselves. Family, I'm sharing something really deep with y'all. But this is the mindset that a lot of people do when they engage in Christendom. Not Christianity altogether. I'm not saying all of Christianity is wicked and evil, but those with the mindset of Christendom. This is why I asked the question, when these missionaries came into West Africa and they were doing conversions, were they doing the black people, black or African people there, were they doing them a service by presenting them Christianity? Were they actually redeeming them and saving their soul from their own cultural paradigms that they've been using for hundreds of thousands of years that was able to solve all of their societal ills? Were they their knight in shining armor? We got to think about this, family. We got to think about this. But let me move forward. Let me move forward. I know it's heavy stuff. I know it's a lot. Man, it's a lot of stuff, man. I'm sorry if I didn't follow the chat. But anyway, so let me get back on track. So even though we're talking about the Roman Catholic Church, I had a family member who had a situation, and I'm not going to say their name. They had a situation where they was put out their home, they wasn't working, and they needed some assistance. They asked other people in the family and other black people for assistance, and none of them were able to assist, right? Because there's other ways you can assist a person if you don't have money, right? You can give them resources, or you can give them contacts to resources that can help them. And that's what I do. When I cannot financially give, I give people resources that they can get in touch with in order to assist them, right? So anyway, they went to there was a program that they was being made privy of. Roman Catholic Church was putting aside money to help people who were homeless and people who had lost their job. And the church, well, they wasn't homeless yet. They was on the verge of being homeless, but the Roman Catholic Church cut a check for this person and paid their rent and all their bills several times and didn't ask that person to join their church at all. How do you speak about that? How do you address that? So what I'm saying is, good can come out of people who are unaware that they're doing the wrong thing. But our objective is not to demonize them as a whole and belittle the good that they are doing, but we have to look at everything from a very objective position and weigh the good with the bad. Okay, so going back to what I was saying, so Vocab, I peeped his agenda. I saw what he was doing. He was coming against all Israelites and banging on all these One West camps and everything like that, even though he didn't mention none of the programs that some of these One West camps are actually doing in the community, like their prison ministries, like their food outreach, their clothing programs. They still do good in the community, but he didn't care about that. That's not what he was there to look at, right? I can tell you a lot of Christian churches that I've been a part of that's oppressed people, that has oppressed people, because I was a part of one for a short stint. And I saw oppression heavy, suppression heavy. I was like, oh, this is a church? It's crazy. So again, it's not the entity, it's the people involved in the egregore of the entity. Okay. So long story short, I peeped this game last year. I saw he was on James White channel. He was on live. I called in and I kind of do a couple of jabs, you know, just to see where they were at, because I wasn't 100% sure. And I found where they were at, and I went and studied. And I said, okay, I know where they at. So I tried to debate Vocab last year on 3 different occasions, and it fell through, right? It didn't happen. So I lost interest. I said, I don't care. What I'm going to do is put information out to the community and let them debate him if they want, right? So coming into this year, I think it was maybe about a couple months ago, Vocab reached out to Sal Showtime and said he wanted to have a different type of session on Debate Talk for You. Interesting. Where he wanted to interview me to find out what do I believe. So he initiated all of this. Sal agreed and said, let me reach out to Devon and see what he says. He reached out to me, and I heard what he was doing, and I peeped game, because I already know what Vocab is doing, right? I'm not unawares. I know what he's doing. So I said, you know what? Cool, let's do it. I'm with it. Let's do it. Remember, I'm always thinking ahead. Always thinking ahead. So I was like, I know what he wants to do. So I'm going to call him on his own game. I said, I accept this conditionally, under the term that I'm allowed to interview him as well. Now, I'm not going to share anything else that we talked on a phone conversation. This is a personal conversation. But now the debate is over and everything, like, I'm not debate, excuse me. The discussion is over. It doesn't matter at this point. But once he heard that, his whole demeanor changed. Like, oh, Sal, I don't want this to be a debate, Sal. You know, and I'm not saying Again, I'm not talking ill of vocab. I'm just speaking the facts. He was like, Sal, I don't even want it to be called a round because it's going to insinuate in people's mind that it's a debate. So I said, all right, let's just call it segments, interview segments. All right. He did not want it to be a debate. You know why? His vocab is unsure of my worldview. And guess what? Even after he interviewed me, he is still further unsure because he's drawing all of these straw man conclusions. He is not trying to seek any good from what I'm teaching. Therefore, he will always skewer my worldview. Me, I seek the good. I see that the road to hell is paved with good intentions. And that is what he's doing. He's thinking he's doing a service to the black community. And it's sad. Now, vocab is a junior to me. He's much younger than me. All right. I'm an elder to him. I'm much older than him. Right. So I understand him having the passion that he has, the unbridled passion, being a youth. I understand that. So I had to school him. Right. Because again, what the age that he's at, I was a Christian at the age he's at. And I was dealing with Christian apologetics. You know what I'm saying? So I was already where he's at, but he's never been where I'm at. That puts him at a disadvantage or a handicap when he's engaging me. You see, I've played the Christian apologetics game. I've had debates at churches. I've had debates at universities over theology and doctrine. I've came against the Mormons and against the Unitarians and against the Jehovah's Witnesses and against all these other so-called cults, right? William Martin is a Christian apologist that I used to watch, right? Matter of fact, I mentioned this on Facebook before. I used to watch all of James White's material. Damn, hold on. I used to watch all of his material. He was on as Walter Ralston Martin. And anybody that knows anything about Christian apologetics, that was the man who really spearheaded and made Christian apologetics mainstream in America, okay? I used to watch all of his videos. There was a show that he was on, the John Ankerberg Show. I used to watch the John Ankerberg Show. Anybody that's a Christian in the group right now or was an ex-Christian that was involved in apologetics, you know these names that I'm talking about. John Ankerberg had a platform where Walter Ralston Martin was on plenty of times speaking against all of these cult-like groups, okay? And he was displaying Christian apologetics. I used to listen to his radio show, Archives. I used to read his material. Walter Martin, in my mind, was the man. James White at the time was much younger, and he was dealing with textual criticism of the New Testament. And he was also on the John Ankerberg Show. They had debates on the John Ankerberg Show. Family, I was entrenched in this. This is not new to me. This is what I'm trying to tell you. This is not my first rodeo with this. I'm fully aware of what your angle is because I was there. I was an astute student in regards to Christian apologetic hermeneutics. That was my thing. I was a ministry of help to other churches, equipping them to do apologetics and to do appropriate hermeneutics, right? That was a gift that I had, right, at the time. And I was self-learning a lot of things, but what I did was being self-learned, I still bounce things off of people who are already situated, have degrees and stuff to ensure that I have balance in the things that I'm conveying. So the problem with vocab is you're dealing with an ex-Christian apologist. You're not dealing with no regular Hebrew Israelite. This is light work. When I was throwing those jabs at him, that was light work. Family, that's 20%, family. Imagine if I went 100% on him in a debate. I told vocab, if we debate, I'm not pulling no punches on you. I'm going all the way in with every microsecond that I have. When I'm saying you're talking about overkill, overkill does not do it justice. I'm going all the way in, and I'm going to do so with poise, with tact, and with diplomacy. I'm going to do it with a smile. I'm going to do it being reserved. It may be moments of passion, but I ain't going to call you out. I ain't going to disrespect you. I'm going to serve you with information. Bro, I was a Christian apologist. I debated people with the New Covenant theology worldview. I debated people who had the dispensational worldview, which a lot of evangelical black churches subscribe to that. I dealt with people who were Calvinists, right? Which we see Calvinists are people that deal with covenant theology. And he admitted that he subscribes to the tenets of Calvinists, which is tulip, right? I debated people who had the oneness doctrine, people who had the Trinity doctrine. This is not new to me. The only thing is, I remember a lot, but I don't remember everything because I'm not engaging in that anymore. But I still have my references, right, to that. And if you will see my preaching videos, I have at least 10 videos that I recorded of me preaching. I added hermeneutics, apologetics, and a message when I was doing that. And you'll see some of those elements when you see me doing my teachings on edification on my YouTube channel. So the problem with vocab is he's never been on my side of the spectrum. So it's very difficult for him to be objective. It's very easy for me to be objective because, again, I've been in this game before he's been in this game, right? I'm much older than him. So this is nothing new to me, okay? So that's when he put us up at a disadvantage, and I had the complete advantage. That's why I said when I started, I laid out objectives. I threw him off his game, and he was asking me a question. I responded immediately. Why? Because this is second nature to me. I could be half dead in a hospital and still do this. You understand? Because it's instinctive at this point. So when he's asking me certain questions, I realized certain questions were genuine, certain ones were trick or loaded questions, and I had to be careful on how I responded to it. And mind you, we didn't know what we was going to ask each other beforehand. So he didn't have a list of my questions. I didn't have a list of his questions. We just had this. We had to respond to this on the fly. And a lot of people think that this is easy. When they get into this arena, it's not easy, family. It's not easy. It's not easy. And like I said, I'm not the best debater. I'm not the most astute or articulate person, but I can hold my own. And people that challenge me, I'm saying to them, yo, are you really ready to get in the ring and do this? Like, this is not a game to me. If I have to go 1,000% on you, I will go 1,000% on you. Even to the extent where I'll go get other parties who are part and partial to the information that I'm conveying, who are the actual references themselves with videos, recordings, or even them there as a live witness in order to substantiate the data that I'm giving you and to interpret the data from their worldview to correlate with what I'm conveying to you. I will go all out if I had to do a real debate against somebody that I see that is a real challenge, because at the end of the day, I'm doing it for the liberation of our community, but ultimately for Yah. I'm his servant. So when I see people attacking my people, I have to stand up. I'm not going to sit there and be quiet. I said, Most High, Yah, I want to be a tool. And I want to be one of the sharpest tools in your tool shed. I don't want to be your only tool. I want to be one of the sharpest. He was trying to ask questions to make me seem cultic. He was trying to ask questions to try and compare me to other cult-like groups like Mormons, right? Because he said my idea of henotheism is similar to polytheism and is similar to Mormon theology. I'm like, bro, are you serious? Walton, Ralston, Martin debated. Matter of fact, family, type in John Ankelberg and Walter Martin and type in Mormon. He had debates against Mormons. I know the Mormon doctrine by watching Christian apologists and then going back and reading their works on it. How are you going to tell me that my doctrine is the same as Mormon theology when I could write a dissertation for you to show you what I subscribe to, what they subscribe to, and the differences between them? I can do this. So he is not equipped to have a debate with me. He is not the right person to have this debate with me. And then what he was doing was he was using Koine Greek terms as if I wasn't aware of it. But what I will say is, I told you before, when it comes to the Koine Greek, I'm in the beginning stages, trying to encroach upon the intermediate stages. So I have a lot of headway to go, but I'm aware of a lot of things already. I learned a lot of the basics, so you can't get me with certain things. With Hebrew, I'm more of an intermediate, right? So Hebrew, I'm more fluent in than I am in the Koine Greek, but I can go in the Koine Greek and rock in the Koine Greek if you wanted to. I was going to go and read out passages just in Greek, but I said, you know what? Let me not do it because he's not as astute in biblical languages. So I didn't want to be unfair to the person that I'm interviewing, because once I saw that he didn't know certain points of doctrine, of his own doctrine, I had to step back and be like, wow, man, this is crazy. I had to scale all the way back and be like, damn, okay, it's not. And my thing was the audience. If he doesn't understand the question, I'm not going to waste my time explaining it for him so he can answer it and then cut my time for asking a more pertinent question. If I say he don't know, all right, bro, you don't know, let's move on. Everything he asked me, I knew, and I responded, right? Him, a lot of things he didn't know. So I was like, damn, this is crazy. Like, does he really want to debate? And then I offered to debate to him several times, and he's just not saying nothing about it. He's not responding to it. So he may not want to debate me. If he does debate me, he may need some more time to study, right? But it's not going to be a good look for him. But shout out to that brother. Listen, I ain't got no hate or animosity for you, Vocab. If you watching this, bro, it's nothing but love. I ain't got no problems with you, man. All I'm saying is leave us alone, because What you've experienced is just the tip of the spear. The rest of it didn't even go through yet. And I'm speaking symbolically, figuratively, because he might think this of, oh, he's threatening me. No, I'm not threatening you. I've never threatened you before. I've never insulted you. I never called you out your name. I never said that you was an agent, even though your activity seems a bit agent provocatorish. I never called you a devil. I never said any of these things to you. You know why? Because I let the information speak for itself. When me and you had our discourse, right even before, you went on a slandering campaign against me. Why? After the discussion, you went and trolled all my posts and my friends' posts. How you go on my friends' posts on their page and troll too? Why are you trolling? Why are you going on a slandering campaign, calling me a pagan and saying, oh, he's a pagan and he's a polytheist, this and he's that? For what? I didn't have to do any of that, family. That is when people are intimidated. They do things like that as a form of deflection, so people don't realize that they are actually intimidated. Family, I went to school for forensic psychology. I understand enough about psychology to be able to see certain profiles and the behavior of people. Okay. So with that being said, family, we had that discussion, and Vocab was not prepared for that discussion. He's not prepared for a debate, but I would want to debate him. G-Man from Shield Squad wanted to debate me, and I said, I'm not interested in you. I'm interested in the handler, and the handler is Vocab Malone. That is who I want to debate. I don't care about none of y'all, rest of y'all in Shield Squad. I only want to debate Vocab. But this is to the Shield Squad. Now that you know that Vocab is a progressive covenantalist, what are you going to do with that information? What are you going to do with that doctrine? Are you going to have a session and challenge him on it? Are you going to ask him questions on that? Are you going to interview him on his position on that? Are you going to say what is his takes on NCT, which progressive covenantalism is a subset of? Because most of your covenant theologians, most of your I ain't going to say y'all hyper Calvinists, because some of y'all are still evangelical with your Calvinism. But y'all need to get that together, man. There's a lot of stuff going on over there, and y'all need to actually question Malone and say, bro, what do you believe for real? And let's hash this out, because we see some doctrinal differences in what you subscribe to. They may say, oh, but we have the same core tenets of faith. That's fine. But a lot of the differences that y'all have, if you're not on one accord, a person like me, I'm going to spot that, and I'm going to expose that. I'm going to let everybody know all the minute doctrinal differences between all you guys the moment y'all open your mouth. And then I'm going to expose it for everybody to see. Vocab, now you got to defend progressive covenantalism. I'm going to release a paper where I have a scholar that breaks down all of the issues with progressive covenantalism, because it is still a new perspective, not a new perspective, but a novel perspective. It does not have the backing of 2,000 years of Christianity in regards to being a worldview. It borrows from covenant theology and borrows from dispensationalism, just like NCT does, with some differences. Matter of fact, let me show y'all a chart. Man, this is not fair, Vocab. Vocab, why are you doing this, Vocab? Why, bro? This is not a game to me. I study this. I'm not just shooting from the hip. This is sniper. You know, when a sniper, anybody's been an Army sniper, you got to look at the wind speed. You got to look at the trajectory of the bullet. You got to look at the distance. There's so many different things you got to be precise with in order to ensure that that shot is going to hit that target. I'm a sniper. Figuratively speaking, I'm a sniper. And I'm not just some dude in the street that's pulling out a Glock and just shooting sideways. That's not how I operate. The people that you dealt with, a lot of them operate that way. And you bumped in a couple that hasn't. But I'm a sniper. I'm trained to do this. This is what I do. And I'm raising the standard in our community so we can raise up more Hebraic apologists in order to confront this movement that you're trying to impose on us. We're rising soldiers up. And these soldiers is going to be even better than me. That's my job, to have successors who are greater than me. So whatever you're doing, we're going to counter it. It's going to be light work, because all I'm going to be doing is releasing information, giving them the tools and saying, this is how you address this and that. That's what I'm doing. So that's the Vocab situation. Let me fast forward to the Harry Rosenberg situation. I'm going to share a couple of things that I'm going to end off. I've been in here too long, but let me finish off. What's going on? Agree. See it's turn. Yo, hit that like button, y'all. You can't hold L2 and press R2. What? I don't know what Kevin Jean's saying. Guys, I don't see the interest in seeing the line there. Let's see. Oh, well, Faithful to God, I never had a debate with him. Faithful to God. See, the problem that I have with a lot of these brothers is that they're arrogant, and they're abrasive, and they overtalk you. I was on a session, a Shield Squad live stream one time, and they kept overtalking me. They kept muting me. So I can't be on their platform and talk to them. It has to be a neutral platform. You know, like yourself with vocab, it's a different thing. When they don't, when a neutral party is controlling the discussion, that you don't have no upper hand on me at all. It's going to be an even balance. Now, Faithful to God is a very astute brother. This brother knows his stuff, and he would probably be a little bit more formidable for me than Vocab would, right? But he's not the handler. Vocab is the handler. He may not have been that way initially, but coming into this, he's the handler. I have to deal with the handler. And then once I deal with the handler, then everybody else are going to have to separate. So Soldiers for God is a different sect than Shield Squad. They've split. And like I said, Joe, Shield Squad, I followed the Shield Squad. Why? Because that's part of my name. So Shield Squad was designed to get against our doctrine. You got to get against people who are very astute in our community. And I'm just one of many. I'm not the only person that's like this. I'm one of many. But what I want to do is be the deterrent to show you that coming against me is like coming against all the rest of us that are in the community, and I'm galvanizing them all together to counter what you're doing. Anybody that encroaches upon the Hebrew Israelite worldview, I'm going to defend it. I don't need to be on offensive against you. I'm going to defend our worldview and teach our community how to do it, and in the process, provide healing to people that have bitterness and anger and malice and so forth. All right? So with that being said, family, the Rosenberg situation came up. Ron Dalton of Hebrews the Negroes had reached out to me. He wanted to get me on the show to speak with Harry Rosenberg. He had Remy Alona. Remy Alona did an interview with Harry Rosenberg. He had a Rabbi Akweti, or a bazillionaire, as he's known on Facebook, and that's a good shout out to that brother. That's a good brother there, and he wanted to get me on there to speak. I thought it was an excellent session. I didn't have enough time to interface with Harry. So the next time I do it, I'm gonna ask Ron if I can be given a little bit more time to interface with Harry, because there's more things that I wanted to say. I was very reserved that night because I wasn't as hyped as I was going against Vocab. So a lot of the energy that I would have given to that Harry discussion was the Vocab discussion, right? Because I never really had a real big issue with Harry at all. Like I had with Vocab. Again, family, anybody that is an Ashkenazi Jew that comes against our community, they can get this work. Anybody that's a Christian apologist that comes against this community, they can get this work. Anybody that is Kemetic, who's a romanticist with Kemetic culture, because all Kemetic subscribers ain't bad people, but the romanticists that come against our community, they can get this work. All of y'all can get this work. My Moorish brothers, I never really had an issue with the Moors like that. You know what I'm saying? But with other black Muslims who try to defame and try to disrespect our worldview, they can also get this work. And if y'all know my track record, all I do is give out this work. That's all I do. You know why? Because again, it's about saving and protecting our community. I am a guardian. Safaya means the Yah guards or Yah protects. That is my Hebrew name. I protect people. I cover people at my own expense. I mediate situations. That's what I do. So I'm not going to stand back and let our community come under fire and not shoot back. This is what I'm here to do, family. I'm here to protect y'all. And I love y'all. And to the day I die, I'm going to do what I got to do. I may be persecuted for it. I may be hated on. People may try to threaten me and all types of stuff. That comes along with the territory, family. I don't fear anybody but the Most High Yah. All right. And anything that you do to me, trust me, I'm going to seek justice in this life. I'm not going to wait till I die to seek justice or have. No, I'm allowed to by Torah to seek justice for injustice that's perpetrated against me or my community by any means necessary. And I'm going to do so within the legal framework that I'm able to operate. So I'm not threatening nobody, right? I'm not saying I'm bringing an army, I'm going to go shoot y'all and do that. I'm not saying that. And so nobody brand me that way. That's not what I'm saying. So I have to make sure I correct that, because some people probably listen to my words try to use it against me. What I'm saying is any means necessary within the confines of what is legal will be done to you. Will be meet back unto you. The only people that I turn a cheek for are my brothers and sisters. If you outside of my brothers and sisters, done deal. Let's deal with Hamashiach, who people call Hamashiach, who I call Yahusha ben Yosef, right? Or Yahusha HaNatzori, right? The turn the cheek thing. A lot of people have issues with that because they don't understand the concept. The turn the cheek thing, he talks about enemies. Anybody that you have an ought with becomes in opposition to you. And he said, before you can offer your gift to Yah, first relieve that ought with your neighbor, because that's Torah. Torah tells you about that, right? So all he was doing was expounding on Torah. So when your friend or your neighbor is oppositional to you, they become your enemy, right? And we've had frenemies. A lot of us have frenemies, right? They become your enemy. What he's saying as far as turn your cheek, people came to him and said to him that, oh, your mom and your brothers, they're looking for you. He said, what? My mom and my brothers? He pointed to his disciples and said, yo, those who do the work of my father, those are my sisters, my brothers, etc. Those are my brothers, right? So what he was saying is that when you have an ought with your neighbor, and when you got to understand who your neighbor is, you have to go back to Torah. Who's the Israelite neighbor? Those who are kin, those who have the same lineage and stock as you. Those are your neighbors. If you have an ought with your neighbor, and to a point where it becomes oppositional, Torah teaches us that if you have an issue with your neighbor, but you see his donkey, his mule, or his ox in a ditch, or his ox in a ditch, his ox or his mule or his property somewhere else, you are still to return that to your neighbor. You are obligated to do that because that forces you to reconcile with that neighbor. That's equity via the Most High. That's how he equalizes things. So all Yahusha was doing was bringing about or expounding. He's giving a midrash on Torah. That's all he was doing. That's all he was doing, right? He didn't change anything because he told you he did not come to change or destroy the law. So everything he was saying was in alignment with the law. Okay, and we got to think about the law in his day and age. It was different than how it was given to Moshe because certain captivities has happened since that time. You got to take that to an account. But the enemy that you turn your cheek to is your brother or your sister who you have an ought with. Because in turning the cheek towards them, the objective is to reconcile by not repaying evil for evil. Even Paul said, try to strive to live peaceably if possible with everybody. Strive to do it. But if you can't, sometimes you got to part ways. That's why we see the Barnabas and Silas situation. At one point, he got to part ways. Y'all can't rock with them no more because we have two different differences. So I'm gonna piece you out. You know what I mean? Piece you out. Deuces, you go your way. I'm gonna go this way. So we have to understand. I only turn my cheek for brothers and sisters that are my neighbors that I have an ought with. I'll turn my cheek for them. But if it's somebody outside my community, I'm not turning no cheek for y'all. Y'all getting this work. And I just want to make sure y'all can look me in my face and y'all understand what it is that I'm telling you. You're not dealing with somebody that's soft or going to lay on their back. Just because my demeanor may be modest does not mean that I don't have a lot going up here strategically and dealing and handling you. The difference is if I show emotion, I give you an edge. You have control. But if I refrain from emotion, I stay objective, I become even more dangerous. So I'm saying this because I want y'all to leave my community alone. Leave us alone. If you don't leave us alone, then we're going to come for you. It's that simple. And let me rephrase what I mean when I say come for you. We're not threatening to bodily harm you. Okay, I just got to make sure I put that disclaimer out there. When I say we come for you, that means that the same attacks you're using to convert us and take people out of our community, we're going to go into your community and we're going to convert and take those same people over and we're going to bring them under Torah. We're going to bring them under Yah. We're going to bring them under this truth. That is what we're here to do. But we're going to do so respectively, tactfully, and diplomatically. The strongest person is the man that can rule his own spirit. One of the Proverbs or Mishlei says that a man who rules his own spirit is greater than a man that rules a kingdom with walls. You know why? Because if you can't rule your own spirit, you can't run a kingdom. So when I see a lot of these brothers out here just poking their chest out and thinking that they're gangsters, but you're conscious. How the hell you a conscious gangster? I don't understand how that works. You don't see no transformation. There's no true character transformation. But they think because they've been indebted, or not indebted, but imbued with knowledge, that now that they're able to use that as a cloaking device over their lack of character. We see through it. We see through it. And we all, again, are on this road to enhancing character. But what I'm saying is this, family. This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying, family. Ahab is not an abstract term. See, when I was talking with Vocab Malone, again, the thing with Harry Rosenberg, let me just get on that so I can finish off this vocab, because y'all really want to hit a vocab thing. The thing with Harry Rosenberg was, who are the real Israelites today? And what I wanted to show is what's going to be in my upcoming lecture that I got to do back over again, because my upcoming lecture was, hold on. Peace and shalom, family. This is Divine Prospect. Please tell us your name and where you're calling from.
This is KB.
Oh, KB. What's good, King?
From North Carolina.
What's good, King?
Hey, what's up, man? What's up?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
I'm good.
This is one of my supporters, y'all. You have a question or a comment, Doc?
I just tuned in. I had one sleep, woke up, was able to catch you before you went off the air here. And I was curious about Luke 10:29 through 37. I was curious if that Samaritan was his neighbor.
Good question. Let's see. Luke chapter 10, verse 29. Let's see. Oh, where it says the parable of the Good Samaritan?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So let me get into that. All right. That was your question, Doc?
Yep.
All right. So I'm gonna hang up just so I can keep the line open for any additional callers. Thank you so much for calling. Thank you for devoting and committing to supporting the ministry. I know that I have to talk with you more often, and I'm gonna work on that. But I thank you for supporting, man, and really being serious about this information, not only impacting you, but supporting it so that way it can be your gift to other people. So I truly appreciate you for that, Ak. I don't take anything that you do to support me for granted. And I definitely want to continue to build with you. And thank you for your question, because it's going to help a lot of people that probably also are thinking the same thing, but they don't have enough courage to act.
All right. Appreciate that.
Anytime, King. Shalom, we're going to be in touch, all right?
Sir, shalom.
Shalom. That's a good brother right there. All right. So his question was, he was asking, and who is my neighbor? According to Luke chapter 10, verses 25 to 37. Okay. So let's get into this. All right. I want to show y'all how I study. Let me show you how I study, man. Let me show you how I study. All right. I want y'all to see this. You hear that tone? All right. I'm gonna show you this. And I don't use this that often, but at times I do, just to do it. But let me bring this up real quick, and then I'm gonna finish the thing about vocab and Harry, and I'm gonna end off soon because it's getting really late. This is a really drawn out session. So let me show y'all this real quick so you can see what I'm looking at. Right, you can see what's going on. Let me share my screen. Hold on. All right. You see my screen, family? See this? This is Logos Bible Software, version 7. I paid a lot of money for this. A lot of money for this. But anyway, nevertheless, look at the tools that's available to me here. Look at all of these tools that's available to me here to utilize. All of these tools. So sometimes if I need additional assistance on something, I may refer to this, but I would say this only includes maybe about 15 to 20% of my studies, right? I don't really use this tool a lot because I know a lot of stuff already. I've committed a lot of stuff to memory, but it's always good once in a while to come back to it to look at certain things, okay? So even as you can see here, I'm looking at the surface text, the MSS, the MSS-TRL, the Lima TRL, the morphology, the Strongs. And then I can go more further into it. Commentaries I don't use. I hate using commentaries. I hate using commentaries, right? So I don't use commentaries a lot because it skewers your perspective on things. And this is what I used to do as a Christian. I used to use a lot of commentaries. And then when I became an Israelite, I said, whoa, wait a second, these commentaries are biased as hell. So I don't want to use commentaries. Sometimes I may use it. Let me rephrase that. But I don't use it as much as I did when I was a Christian. Not at all. But anyway, so let's go down to verse 29, right? And you see on my right side that I have the text comparison here. Verse 29. And this is what I'm saying. Like vocab, bro, man, this is just one of many tools that I have, man. I have so much stuff at my disposal, bro. If we were to debate, man, it's not going to be a good look, bro. It's not going to be a good look. But anyway, the parable of the Good Samaritan, okay? Let's go into this. Y'all can follow along. You can go to BibleHub.com and follow along with me, all right? So let's go to that. Let me go to that real quick. Hold on. This is a great question. Great, excellent question, okay? Now, and anybody else that calls in, I don't mind the questions. I'll probably do an open Q&A next session, but this one, I really wanted it just to hinge upon this week, my discussion with Harry Rosenberg, for those of you who've heard it, and my discussion with vocab alone. So if anybody else calls in before I end the session, please keep it on that subject matter, okay? But because I spoke about the neighbor situation, this is why the brother called in with the question, so that's good. Now listen to this. We're going to Luke chapter 10, verse 25, all right? I'm reading from the New American Standard Bible, okay? I like texts that are more formal equivalent translations. You have dynamic equivalency translations and formal equivalency translations. I prefer those that are more formal equivalency. As a Christian, I dealt with both, or I took something that was like the middle road, right? You can't have 100% formal equivalent translation because it just wouldn't make sense in English. It'll be like a literal concordant translation, right? But I use the NASB because when you read the preface, it's a critical edition Bible, and they have a lot of footnotes in it, reference. And when you read these footnotes that people don't share with you, it changes a lot of doctrine. It changes a lot of doctrine. But anyway, so Luke chapter 10, and let's go to verse 25. And a lawyer stood up and put him to the test, saying, "Teacher, what shall I do to inherit eternal life?" And he said to them, "What is written in the law? How does it read to you?" So what did Yahushua say? He said, "What is the law of Christ, my brother? Do you know the law of love of Christ? Do you know the law of Christ? Is Christ in your heart? Are you welcoming on the altar of your heart today?" He said, "What is written in the law? How does it read to you?" He wanted to see his interpretation of the law. And he answered, saying, "You shall love Yah, your Elohim, with all your heart, your mind, and soul, and your strength, and with all your mind, and your neighbor as yourself." How do we know who our neighbor is? You got to go back to Torah. And he said to him, "You have answered correctly. Do this and you will live." But wishing to justify himself, he said to Yahusha, "And who is my neighbor?" So let's get into this, family. I'm gonna touch on this really briefly, okay? Yahusha tells the story of the Good Samaritan. Now, man, family, man, this is an excellent question, and there's so much I got to say on this, but I'm gonna try to streamline it, because this y'all don't understand how excellent that question is he asked me. Like, that is a profound question, because that goes to show this person is listening with the comprehension to what I'm saying. So now we have to look at the distinction between the Yahudim and the Samaritans, right? And we see this also in Yachanan chapter 4. But if you don't understand the history of the exile and the return or the repatriation back from Babylon during Persian captivity to the land and to rebuild the city and walls of Jerusalem, you're not going to understand the discord between the Samaritans and the Israelites. Matter of fact, there were still poor northern tribesmen that were still in the land that wanted to help rebuild the temple, and they were rejected by the Yahudim, or the southern tribes that returned. So it was an ongoing discourse between them because two reasons. Number one, the Yahudim viewed them as being admixed peoples, because we read in Kings. Let's go to it. Let me go to the scripture. Hold on. Let me go into the scripture. Let me get this for y'all. Right. Let's go to 2 Kings chapter 17, and it talks about Israel exiled because of sin. And when you go to verse 24, it says the king of Syria brought people from Babylon, Kutha, Ava, Hamath, and Sepharvaim, and settled them in the towns of Samaria to replace the Israelites. They took over Samaria and lived in its towns. When they first lived there, they did not worship Yah, so he sent lions among them, etc. So one issue the Yahudim had was that these people were not fully pure bloodline Israelites. In their mind, they were people that had admixed with individuals from Babylon, okay? So that was one of the issues of strife. The second one is the Yahudim blamed the northern tribes or the province of Samaria in Iron Age 2 period for the downfall of Israel. Iron Age 1, Iron Age 2, for the downfall of Israel. So now they're looking at them saying, well, they caused our downfall. And number two, they're not even real bloodline Israelites, the ones that are still in the land. Which is very interesting because one of the disciples of Yahushua was a Canaanite. What? That's deep, family. And we can see northern tribes all throughout the Brit Hadashah. I digress. The issue is the discord between the Samaritans and the discord between the Israelites were there for a reason. The reason why Yahushua told disciples don't go by the way of Samaritans because the message was not to go to them at that time. And they had to only go to the lost sheep of Israel, or to the Yahudim in the area that they knew, wake them up, so then they can assist with waking up the 12 tribes and bringing them back to the Most High Yah. So I say that to say, when we read this story further on, Josiah did his forms, Yachanim did his forms, and we see that there were still Israelites from Manasseh, Ephraim, and so forth that were still there even after 2 Kings chapter 17. Okay, so we still have these individuals, even after the Assyrian siege and captivity, we still have northern tribes people that were still living in Israel. Okay, Israel as a whole province consisting of the territory of the northern and southern tribes. So when a book opens up to the Samaritans, if you don't understand the history of the Samaritans and the Yahudim discord from the exiles, the repatriation, all the way up until the close of and the apocryphal hidden history in between, when the Hadashah opens up, then you'll have no clue to the background as to why the message was geared a certain way towards the Samaritans. A lot of those Samaritans are still kin to Israelites. A lot of them. They either were watered down or they were much further removed. Okay? So they are still considered a neighbor. Let's look at this. And this is why Yahushua brought this up, because he wanted to show them this, that yo, your northern and southern tribes, man, y'all are going through too much discord. So he replied and said, a man was going down from Jerusalem to Jericho and fell among robbers, and they stripped him and beat him and went away, leaving him half dead. And by chance, a priest was going down on that road, and when he saw him, he passed by the other side. Likewise, a Levite also came and saw him pass by the other side. But a Samaritan who was on his journey, now remember, they have beef. This is a civil strife between kinsmen, okay? But a Samaritan came upon him, and when he saw him, he felt compassion and came to him and bandaged up his wounds, pouring oil and wine on them, and put him on his own beast and brought him to an inn and took care of him, right? So, and he said, the one who showed mercy towards him, then Yahushua said to him, go and do the same. So the neighbor is somebody who is keeping Torah. Primarily your kinsmen, and secondarily the strangers that are living amongst you. If they are keeping Torah, they are your neighbor. The Samaritan woman acknowledged the forefather Abraham, but because she was so distant from a lot of other things that were occurring, Yahushua had to school her on some things and get her right. Because what he was showing was that dividing wall between the northern tribes and southern tribes, he's there to initiate the process of putting the two sticks together. All right. So I got another call coming in. I think this is the same person calling me. I'm gonna let that rock for now. No disrespect to the person calling me, but I want a new caller. New callers call in. All right. So I'm gonna leave it at that. But that is a profound question, and it requires a whole separate lesson for it. This is why I'm working on getting donations. Again, those of y'all asking for donation, I got to take a moment and tell you how you can donate. You can donate to my PayPal at kingdomharbinger@gmail.com. You can go to GoFundMe and go to Kingdom Harbinger Ministries on GoFundMe, and you can donate there. You can commit to a monthly donation at Patreon by looking up Divine Prospect, or in the live chat, you can use the super chat function underneath where it says live chat to the right of the video. You'll see the chat going down there, and underneath the chat, you'll see your channel name. You'll see where it says say something, and underneath say something, you'll see a smiley face to the left, and you see a $ to the right. Click on the $, follow the instructions, and you can give a click on send super chat, send a super chat, and you can give a direct donation as this session is going live. So that's for those of y'all who are asking me about how to support the ministry. But y'all can use the super chat function right now, or you can go back to the other things that I mentioned, which Talk Trooper Shawnee is actually putting in the chat room as well. Okay, so he asked a profound question that requires a separate lesson on it. But I'm going to go over the history between the Samaritans and the Yahudim, and I'm going to explain to y'all the historical discourse and how the scene is set before the Brit Hadashah opens up. And once you understand that, you'll understand that he's actually saying that the neighbor is the ones that keep Torah, because having compassion on somebody is Torah. That's why people have the letter of the law, they don't have the spirit of the law. When Yahushua was speaking to the Pharisees, he said, man, you're doing all this other stuff, but you're missing the weightier matters of the law, which is justice and love and all these other things. He said, so keep doing the law, but have the spirit behind doing the law. You can't keep the law in this new age without having the Ruach behind it. It's very difficult. And that's the purpose of the Ruach, is to write the law in your heart so you can keep the law. Not some law of Christ. What the hell is the law of Christ? What is that? That sounds crazy. No such thing as the law of Christ. Christ didn't come to do anything new. He was giving midrash on Torah. That's all he was doing. And not just Torah, the Nebaim as well, the prophets as well. Even the Ketubim, the writings, he quoted David on several occasions. And he was making allusions to things. It's a literary device. It's a technique that's used in literature. Allusion, look it up. I explained this in my lecture, Capital Punishment, Human Sacrifice for the Atonement of Sin in the Bible. You understand what these terms are so you can be less subjective and be able to look at the text and the literature from a cultural perspective objectively. And that's all I'm trying to do, is equip your family to do that, okay? So make sure y'all like this video. Everybody that's on it, please click like, share the video everywhere. Anybody that's awake at 4:52 a.m. in the morning on Sunday, jump in on it. I'm going to give another 10 minutes, and I'm closing out, family. Thank y'all for all the people that called in. Going forward, that's the number if y'all want to call in. I'm going to set it up so every time we do the session, and I get another call. Okay. Let's see. I don't know if this is the same caller. Please, family, if you already called in, please leave the line open for new callers. But let me see who this is. Peace and shalom. This is Divine Prospect. Caller, tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Hi, Divine. This is Marielle again. I wanted to call back and ask another question.
Okay, so can you hold it, Can you inbox it to me? Because I just want to keep the line open for new callers. Can you inbox me the question, or does it pertain to what we're talking about? Does it pertain to what we're talking about?
I'm saying that you were talking about Yahshua.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of had like a little short question that it should be pretty quick for you to touch upon.
Okay, what is it?
I kind of wanted to know if you kind of like agreed to and I'm considering this as a doctrine, as far as the doctrine of prophecy, as far as like he relates to everything that usually with Christians or Messianics or whatsoever relates to, for instance, like Isaiah 7 or Isaiah 53 or Daniel 7 or something like that.
Exactly.
That to Yahshua.
Yeah. So what I would say is that some prophecies pertain to him, but other things are pseudo prophecies that are illusions, because it was a literary device that was placed by the scribes of the Brit Hadashah to make certain allusions to things in the Tanakh. He did not fulfill all the prophecies, right? He just didn't fulfill the prophecies. And Christians force prophecies on him that is not even in the text. So I'm pretty objective on that. I see him as a Moreh. I see him as a Nebi, a prophet. I see him as somebody that was trying to galvanize the scattered sheep of Israel through his message. So he allowed himself to be martyred to bring people back under Torah and to show them the direction in which Yah wants the people to go in the last day and times. But there's still some things that need to be fulfilled. So that's why I say, even though I subscribe to Yahushua's teachings, until the Zedek, the righteous king Melech, is revealed by Yah, and we know Dawid is going to be one of the princes, as long as we keep in Torah, we will all identify who it is, whether it's Yahusha or not. That person, whether he's coming from the sky, quote unquote, or whether he's coming from the earth. If we keep Torah, we're going to be able to identify what's genuine and what's not. So I'm very open and objective to that. And if I had a discussion with you on that, and I know you follow a lot of my work, but you see that my worldview is much different than a lot of other messianics. Huh? Yeah, because yeah, so that's why I say so. I have done some lectures that touch on it and some teleconference where I touch on it, but I had to do a comprehensive lecture on it so people know exactly where I stand on it and how I'm deriving my information. Remember, I'm not dogmatically confined to just the text. So I have to study history. I have to look at comparative text. I have to see everything through the lens of Torah. When I see the Brit Hadashah, I see it through the lens of Torah. And if something does not fit, then I do textual criticism to see if maybe there's an alternate reading or alternate version or variant, textual variant that we're not aware of. And I discovered a lot of stuff. When you read the gospel according to the Ebionites and the quotations of that text that's preserved by the church fathers, you'll see a lot of things in there that we don't, and mind you, they're quoting this from a sect that was around before the earliest manuscripts of Christianity. This is deep. And these people are quoting people who natively spoke Aramaic and quoting them from a text that they had that they claimed to have been written right from the hands of Mattatyahu. And you'll see a lot of differences. And again, through textual criticism, I'm able to harmonize a lot of misconceptions that Christians and some Messianic Israelites have of Yahusha. This is why I study the Ebionites, even the Qumran community who influence the New Testament writers, okay? And if you don't understand that community, you're not going to understand them. And if you are dogmatically opposed to Pharisees, then you do not understand Yahusha. And that's another issue that comes up. People become dogmatically have hatred and bitterness towards the Pharisees. And I'm like, even Yahusha didn't bitterly hate all the Pharisees. So he was upbraiding them because they had a greater obligation to lead the people, and some of them were corrupt, but some of them were not corrupt, and some of them were instrumental in helping the movement get forward. So we got to look at it very objectively. So I'll discuss that at another time. Thank you for that question and that inquiry. Thank you for all your support, man. It's another big supporter of mine, and we're gonna talk again, okay?
Shalom,
Tola King, shalom. All right, so all right. So let me wrap this up. Like I said, family, you can click like. And I think sometimes some people may be a little offended because I'm objective on certain things, right? And a lot of times I don't like to always tell people what I personally believe, because as a teacher, I have to give you objectively what I subscribe to, not subjectively, but objectively. And a lot of times when people question me or debate me, it throws them off because they're expecting me to speak from a religious worldview. Like when that Molech question came up by vocab, he expected me to say, yeah, that's evil, that's wicked, and blah, blah. He wanted me to rant and rave like a religious fanatic and say, yeah, but I understood his question. And he was trying to link that to the divine counsel because he already put this stuff out before we even had the discussion in our peep game. I'm from New York, and I'm not saying New York is better than anybody else. Listen, family, I used to hustle, right? I had a stint in street. I used to hustle. One thing I learned from New York, you know how to spot a hustler. If somebody's trying to run game on you, somebody try to manipulate you, my New York way of life that I came from, and I've never lost that, I peep hustle game. So a person that's trying to hustle me ain't gonna work. He's trying to hustle me, right? He's thinking he can get over me. So you know when you come to New York and you see the brothers that have the cards and they swap the cards around, that's a hustle. They have a cup and they have a ball in a cup and they have 3 cups and they swap around, that's a hustle. Somebody's trying to tell you, yo, I got it for cheap and this is what my product is, that's a hustle. There's always, in New York, everything is about the hustle game. So when I see a person that's outside of my community, that's coming in my community, and they're running a hustle, I peeps game. Because I know about that life, family. I peeps game. He tried to hustle me. He thought he'd be able to get me in his little hustle game, and then I wouldn't peep game. So I said, you know what? I'm going to take an objective approach on this. I stepped back, and I said, from the cultural paradigm or the cultural perspective of the literature of the Israelite culture, child sacrifice, the way it's being done by the Canaanites, is considered ra, or calamity, or evil, or wicked, right? But within that culture, they didn't see it as such. So I said I'm neutral on that, because if I'm looking at it from my cultural perspective, yeah, that's wrong. If I look at it from their cultural perspective, they don't see it as being wrong. So objectively, I got to say, listen, according to that culture, it was the rightful thing to do. That is what the patron deity of those people required. So they gave what was required according to the cultural mandates that they subscribed to. So in their eyes, it was right. In the Israelite eyes, it was wrong, right? But there was a different way of human sacrifice being offered in the Israelite culture. But if the Israelites participated in the culture of another people and started to offer their children to the deity of another nation, nation's patron deity who did not come into covenant with them, they are disrespecting Yah, and he has to render judgment amongst them. That's objective scholarship. You're not going to get me in my feelings with this. It's objective scholarship. I'm sharing with you objectively so you can take a bird's eye view of the scenario and see what's going on. That is how I teach. And it's very difficult to pin somebody like me down who's objective, because you're trying to force me to be, even that debate with Jabari, man, that was a prime example from somebody in the Kemetic community that was trying to get me to be, he said, oh, we're going to deal with corrective history. When I was talking to him, he didn't want to deal with corrective history. He wanted me to take a religious perspective on the questions he was asking me, and I was not playing into his game. Again, I'm from New York. I peeps the hustle game. So he asked me a question, and I was giving him an objective answer from my scholarship, and he was trying to corner me into a religious dogmatic worldview, and I was not doing that for him. So at a point, I conceded, and I gave him that answer, but I let him know that's not what we came here to do, bro. What is wrong with you? That's not me. And this is what infuriates people when they talk with me, because I don't get emotional about it. I just objectively share with you what it is, and I say, yo, this is what it is. That's it. Now, if you're debating me, then I'm gonna be passionate when I come at you with it. But if I'm teaching you, I'm just giving you the information objectively, so you can see it how I see it before I come to my conclusion. All right. All right, family. So last chance to call in. Take one more call, and I'm ended off. But vocab, let's debate, bro. Let me know. Set it up. And now what vocab is going to have to just go back to his team, get briefed by his team, and they're going to have to tell him to use this and do that. And he's going to have to do that, because I'm not debating. I don't want to debate nobody on Shield Squad. I don't want to debate nobody on Soldier of God. I'm letting the brothers do what they doing. Do what y'all do, man. I don't care. Do what y'all do. I have no hatred or animosity towards y'all. Do what y'all do. But I want the handler. I want vocab. And if vocab, you hearing this, if you got to go back to SEAL Squad to get briefed and for them to discuss with you your progressive covenantalism position and say, man, you can't use it against Devon, because Devon knows that system doesn't even have a systematic theological course, because it is still a novel position and a subset of new covenant theology, which then comes into contradiction with covenant theology, and that's going to cause some issues for the hyper-Calvinists in your group. There's a lot of questions that's going on, a lot of things y'all got to deal with that I'm going to start bringing up. What about 1688-89 federalism? What about that and how that opposes new covenant theology and progressive covenantalism? Matter of fact, there's a video on YouTube on that. I study this. So y'all, if vocab, if you got to go back to your team to get briefed, I'm not going back to my team. I'm good money. You have to go back to your team and get briefed, right, on how to handle Divine. Come at him on this angle, because vocab, it was not a good look. You are not as quick on your feet as I thought you would be, but you did hold your own. I'll give you that. You had heart. I'll give you that. Vocab has a lot of heart. I'll give him that. And he's a glutton for abuse, not in the physical sense, but he knows he's going against a community that is very strong and has a LOIN spirit to them. And you know you're going to get clawed, you're going to get bitten. He understands that. And he's still putting himself in the ring with that. So he can't cry and complain because he put himself in that scenario. Everybody's not as diplomatic as tactful as Divine. The people that follow me and support me, they're all not part of my organization. These are people that just support my cause. But they support me because they know if they had to refer anybody to anybody outside their community to be diplomatic, they would choose me as one of many other individuals. There's other people that I know that equally as diplomatic, but it's not a lot of us. That's why they support me. Not because they agree with everything that I teach, but a lot of people initially don't agree. But then after a while, I say, you know what, damn, Divine is just really giving us an objective perspective on this worldview. And because they see that, then they start to say, you know what, I understand why he's teaching that way. And then they start to benefit from that, right? So again, vocab, man, you got a lot of homework to do, man. You do not know my worldview, bro. That little session that we had, that 3-hour session, is not enough for you to get into the depths of my mind on how I perceive things. Man, it's going to be very difficult, bro. But just remember, I was a Christian apologist. William Ralston Martin, John Ankerberg show, which James White appeared on that show as well. Yo, I used to watch that. Yo, when I was a Christian, I watch almost every John Ankerberg show, man. I love that show. And I went back and researched everything I heard them talking about. Bro, how do you debate a Hebrew Israelite that was an ex-Christian apologist that watched a John Ankerberg show? Come on, bro. Come on, bro. That watched almost all of James White's debates, that used to watch faithfully Alpha and Omega Ministry. I watched James White faithfully when I was a Christian. I didn't agree with his Trinity perspective, but everything else he taught on, textual criticism of the New Testament, but I did give the edge to Bart Ehrman. Bart Ehrman gave him that work, but that's neither here nor there. But you're going to get somebody that studied all of this, that's watched all of this, that has references and sources on all of this information. Bro, this is not what you want, man. And I had to go into your world in order to debate you, not debate you, but interface with you. I went into your world, bro. In your world, I didn't ask you the common questions that Hebrew Israelites ask you from their dogmatic worldview. I went into your world. I stepped into your world and I said, what's up? I'm here. Answer this, answer that. And you was not prepared for that. And then on the call, bro, ain't no Christians called in and said, where was your team at? Where was your Christian audience at? Why they ain't calling? That goes to show how many Israelites support me and my endeavor to debate and to interface with you. The whole community, even though they may not agree with everything that I teach and I stand on, they're willing to come behind me when it comes to dealing with you, simply because you're not seeking for the good in us. You're only seeking for the bad in us. And the only good that you want from us is us confessing Christ and converting over to your form of religion. We're not wired like that, family. You understand? We're not like that. So with that being said, that was the vocab situation. Harry Rosenberg had to do with ethnic markers, because Harry said the Ashkenazim had perfectly preserved Torah from the days of Ezra the scribe until today. When Harry said that to me, I was like, yo, this dude is bugging out. We don't have no autographs from the time of Ezra. How the hell are you preserving Torah to today? I said it's a reconstructive process for us to be able to recapitulate the Torah in its prime state. And you can't just do it from the literature alone. You got to look at manuscripts like I do. You got to go do comparative cultures like I do. You got to look at history, at historical accounts like I do. You got to go into the language. You got to go into so many different things. This is why I'm not an expert on any one thing, because in order to understand what truly occurred, you have to look at so many different angles. So I try to learn each one of these angles so that way it can give me a broader insight on the subject matter that I'm talking about. So when he said that the Ashkenazim have perfectly preserved it, so, and I've heard this argument before, I had to mute myself and chuckle. That was funny as hell. Because now what he's saying is that justifies them having the authority to teach Torah to the whole world. And I said, no, bro. How can you impose Reform Judaism on Israelites in West Africa that have kept their cultural traditions via social memory and oral tradition over the years? And most of them were northern tribes. Now, am I saying that Judah wasn't in West Africa? I'm not saying that. I'm saying they were a minority in West Africa. Most of Judah was in North Africa and East Africa, right? That's where a lot of Judah went. But a lot of the in sub-Saharan Africa is where a lot of the lost tribes went. And the northern tribes went and settled. So they brought with them their custom, their culture. So you giving them Reform Judaism, which is a very skewed perspective that is imposed on people that want to get Israeli citizenship, This is why I'm not going to be a citizen of Israel, because they're going to force me to convert to Reform Judaism, which is I don't want to say it's garbage. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say it's basura, because that's more emphatic of garbage. I'm going to say that because it's not garbage. I'm just thinking that because I'm getting a little passionate. What I will say is that it is watered down. And for people who are Israelites in West Africa, you should not have these Ashkenazi handlers over you. You've had a custom and a culture and an identity before they got there. You don't need validation from them. You don't need acceptance from them. Okay? And a lot of the Igbo were converting over to Judaism to be accepted by the state of Israel to redeem them out of the strife and civil wars that was occurring in Nigeria. And when you study Jews of Judaism, Judaism in West Africa and the books on that, you'll be able to understand that subject matter. But like I said, at the end of the day, I don't need you to teach me Torah from a Reformed Judaism, Second Temple Judaism, Ashkenazim worldview, because you do not have a shared experience with me. I don't need that. I have a method of obtaining how to rightfully apply Torah that is in concert with my DNA, with my culture, with my predisposition that is handed down for me genetically from my ancestors in West Africa. Your form of Judaism is not going to suit me, and it's not going to liberate me. All it's going to do is make you my handler, make you my master. Anybody that, even if you're a black Christian, if you look into your organization, whatever that denomination is, if at the very head of it is a handler that does not look like you, you have a problem. That's a big issue. You have a problem. You have a problem. Am I saying that means they're wicked, they're evil? No, it's not. They need to cater to their community. We need to cater to our community. And once both respective communities are on equal ground, which we're not here in America, once we're on equal ground, then we can come to the table and talk about similarities and maybe work towards a common cause. But until justice is settled here in America and equity is inseminated to the minds of Americans in its contemporary culture, it is very difficult for me to sit under a foreigner and allow them to teach me. I can't do that. Now, that doesn't mean I can't learn from a stranger. I can, and I have, because a lot of them are the holders of information that my community does not have the resources or the accessibility to get to. So I have to go to certain sources to get that. But once I get it, I own it. And then I teach it and give it back to my community. So I'm not a racist. I don't hate white people. No, there's a lot of good white people out there, right? I'm not saying the elitists that control everything. Those are not, I'm not the elitists. Those are the people perpetuating white supremacy, colonialism, imperialism, industrialization, all of that. They're wicked as hell. But there are some white people who also have been lied to, have also been deceived and manipulated by this abstract, this construct that has been instituted in the minds of people to pit them against each other. So a lot of them, I don't even fault them for what's embedded in them. My objective is to speak truth, to get it out. And what I realized is that when you speak truth without hatred, they'll listen. And then they'll be able to I can say identify, but empathize with your plight. And in doing so, they'll be willing to support you, right? Because they understand you're at a disadvantage, okay? So I say that because there's a lot of people that support my ministry that are people that are outside my ethnic disposition. And I have no qualms with that, because at the end of the day, righteousness has to supersede my ethnic identity. I have to still have the righteous mindset. And I learned this from Torah on how to deal with the stranger as if they were native born. If they themselves are leaving their culture to engage in the culture of Yah, that is a bigger thing than being born into the culture. Leaving your family's culture, your ancestors' culture, to engage in Yah, that is a huge sacrifice and a great burden that they have to bear. So we have to be able to keep that in mind. And we have to be able to treat them a certain way, family. That's why you can't have the law without the spirit. And love, or chacham, brings both together. Let's get into the word love in Hebrew. I want y'all to see this word love, right? This word love is not an abstract term. When I now mind you, in Koine Greek, you have eros, which is a form of love, philos, which is a form of love, agape, which is a form of love. You have different forms of love that are abstract philosophical concepts in Koine Greek, because the Greek language is a philosophical language. Classical Greek, not the Greek that preceded it, like the Minoan Greek and all that, or things that we see in Linear A, Linear B, Minoan script, and all that other fun stuff, right? And I'm gonna do a lesson on that too. But when we look at Hebrew is a more concrete language, okay? So we look at the word love, and we're gonna get into this word love, okay? Now remember, when a word, like for example, word love is ahab and ahaba. Ahab is masculine singular, right? Ahaba is feminine singular, okay? And these are both nouns, okay? And whenever you have ahab as a masculine singular, it normally is relating to a concrete idea. When you see it with the feminine suffix, the he, it normally gives you or alludes to the feminine transcendental element that is infused into the masculine concrete term. So in order to really get enlightenment on the concrete word ahab, you also have to look at the ahaba. This is why the masculine and feminine aspects of Torah and the Tanakh and Israelite culture that we've lost is necessary in order to understand the Creator. When the Creator put Adam and Eve together, he said, you're going to be echad, you're going to be one. Why? Because there are things that are infused in the woman and things that are fused in a man that both exude the feminine and masculine elements of the Creator, that without us combining the two together, we can never fully reflect the oneness of Yah. So when we say the Shema all the time, you can't reflect that if you're oppressing women. Women, you can't bring that about if you're a feminist, right? Men, you can't bring that about if you're a misogynist. We have to learn how to work together, and language is one key to help us understand the feminine role and the masculine role. It's deep, family. It's very deep. But let's get into ahab, okay? So ahab and ahaba, right? So when we look up the word love, right, it has to do with devotion. Now, love is not concrete. You cannot put it in a lab and study it. There's no scientific methodology to ascertain what love is. It is a human trait that is distinct, that makes us more conscious than other living creatures on the planet. Other living creatures' concept of love is instinctual. Ours is formulated in ideologies based on our culture, okay? Ahab, when we look at it, and some people may look at the pictographic and you see Aleph He Beit, and that means the strength for watching over the home. That's what love is. And the Most High has built a home for us, which is founded on Torah. And our culture is that home. And when we watch over the culture and we watch over the foundation of Torah, then we're exhibiting love. Ahaba is the feminine element on how the concrete aspect is transformed in the ethereal realm. Women are the gatekeepers to the spiritual realm, okay? Men can access it too, but women are more sensitive to it. So this is why women are better at reading body language and subtle nuances in communication, more so than men. And when I did my lecture on A Closed Mouth Didn't Get Pled, if you watched the last maybe 10, 15 minutes, I went into a scientific article where I explained that. Man, this is I know I'm getting a little deep, but anyway, so long story short, in showing love, and I know I'm getting off the topic a little bit, but I want to close out. It's late. In showing love, we have to look at the feminine and masculine aspects of what love is. The Most High has shown masculine aspects of love in the form of protection, and feminine aspects of love in regards to nurturing. And we have to be able to encourage our men to be better protectors and encourage our women to be better nurturers. They can also secondarily do the opposite, but primarily they must function in those elements, and we must do it together as a team, being the opposite strength of one another, not just simply the helpmate. Helpmate, to me, is very derogative. When you call a woman just a helpmate, no, she's my opposite strength. Okay. So with that being said, family, I'm gonna end off now because it's really late. This is a very extended session because I took calls and everything like that. But with that being said, family, those of you who want to donate, you can do so via the super chat button. All the other links is there. Talk to Futroni is posting it. I appreciate your family for bearing with me these couple of hours from Facebook to now. I hope y'all got something out of it. Like I said, I'm striving to make sure that these sessions are done much earlier so more people can get in on it. And I'm working on that. I have a very hectic schedule, but I'm going to try to make that sacrifice for y'all. And I'm going to continue to remind myself of that. But if y'all like this session, please thumb it up. Please share it everywhere on the internet, everywhere you can share it so that people can get these gems and this information and be enlightened and empowered. And man, you know, Ezer Kenegdo is what opposite strength is. I translated as opposite strength. I did a whole lesson at our congregation one time on this. And I'll do another one again on that so you understand how I translate it as opposite strength. But that's what it is. That's definitely what it is. Subscribe to the channel. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. Go back to the archives. Look at all the excellent content that we have on this channel. But like I said, family, if your information does not transform character, then it's not for you. You need to go find something else. And that's what Yah intends for us to do. So shout out to all my Kemetic brothers and sisters that are also watching. Shout out to all my Black Christians and white Christians that are watching this right now. Shout out to all my Muslims that are watching this right now, Black, white, Arab, indifferent, whatever. I appreciate all y'all for watching this, for supporting this ministry, supporting this channel, for giving your input, for calling in, for donating. Like I said, family, I'm nothing without y'all. And I never in my life want to lose focus of that. And if I ever do, y'all have permission to check me on it in private. Because I'm very approachable, and I'll hearken unto what's being said if it's coming from wise counsel. All right. So I love you, family. Thank you for watching. Tune into our next session. I love you guys. Peace. Shalom. Peace, family.